Hey, 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 guys. It's your girl, the dopest nerd, back at it again. You see, I've been put out of my usual office. My daughter's downstairs on her music class, so you guys are up in my bedroom. I usually don't introduce anyone to my bedroom this soon, but we're family. Welcome, guys. I've missed you guys. I've missed you. I've missed you. We have a lot of visitors here. Welcome to the Nerd Herd. Grand rising to everyone. I'm so happy to have you guys here. We're going to let people come on into the room. For those of you who are here, give us a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. You know the usuals. Tell a friend, invite someone over who hasn't been here before so you can come over here and see what we do. We just like to have a lot of fun. Tonight is a casual show, and we are just going to talk to the Nerd Herd. I've been making my way around YouTube for the past couple of days, and so I haven't been here for the home team, and I couldn't spend another day away. I miss you guys so much. I had to come back and give some love. I want to talk to our team, send some love, send some prayers for some of our people who are in need of prayers. And we're just going to talk about whatever you guys need to talk about. I put a link in the chat. If you guys want to come on up, that's the link. Come on to the stage and we will talk. Everybody give a shout out to the dopest mod. Renee up in the house taking care of the families. You guys know the house rules. When you come on in, welcome in, take your shoes off at the door. Grab a pair of fuzzy socks out of the basket by the door. Make yourself comfortable. Put your feet up. Stay a while. We're family. Put your drink requests in the chat. The dopest mod will be serving drinks. Let us know what you're drinking today. Get comfortable. Get cozy. We'll be here for a little while. You know how I feel about you guys. We're family. Come on in here. Come on in here, guys. I just wanted to come in here today and just give love to the dopest nerd family, to all of the people. Shout out to Chessa. That everybody give some love to Chessa Hilliard in the comments. That is my friend, my personal friend. That is my prayer warrior. If you guys think I have the word of God, she got a hotline. She got a hotline straight to God, I'm telling you. When I tell you this woman is anointed and blessed. Put your drink orders in. Put your drink orders in. Let us know what you're sipping on tonight. Get comfortable. Get cozy. Relax. We're just chatting amongst friends tonight. I'm going to have some of you guys come up, have your say, tell me what you think, tell me how you feel, what's going on in your life, you know, just smoozing and making it do what it do. I've missed you guys. The dopest mod is taking care of me. She is, I tell you, when I tell you she keeps me in line. And I thank God for it. We have some things in order, but I'll let everybody get in here. If you have something to say, you want to talk, come on up to the stage. I put the link in the chat. Renee, repost that. Let me shout some of you guys out, all of you guys out. You know, the dopest mod is always Johnny on the spot, taking care of all of this. But I'm going to shout everybody out personally tonight. While I'm getting all of that together, feel free, guys, if you want to support the channel. Absolutely, Suzanne. When you're ready, you can come up without the channel. I get it. I know how it is, girl. And remember, we're family here. Oh, shout out to the Sean Atwood team. I've been on the show for the past couple of days. When I tell you I've had a blast. Oh, the hospitality is amazing. I have been treated so amazingly over there. Ron, Shane, Sean Atwood, Maggie, Paula, Latricia, everybody has been amazing to me. Queenie, everybody's been so kind. And I just want to make sure that I give thanks where thanks are deserved. Let me start saying my salutations and shout out to Suzanne, Slumerican Mac, Murphy James. Of course, the dopest mod in the house. She runs the show, guys. Always give love to the dopest mod. When I tell you Renee runs the show from the background, she keeps me on my toes. Everybody needs that person in their life. Joy to the world. What's up, lady? Kristen Melinda from the Sean Atwood Show. Shout out to you. Thank you for coming to the dopest nerd. Coming over to our little corner of the internet. Suzanne, of course, Aqua Girl Rising. Hey, girl, hey. Chessa, listen. I want Chessa to come up and speak tonight. So if you got to put your little lip gloss on or whatever, Chessa, go on, get it together, girl, because my goodness, this woman is so amazing. If you guys think I have the Holy Spirit in me, whew, and she calls me her spiritual vitamin. But I tell you, this woman, I've had times where I was going through and I talked to her and she prayed. And the next day, boop, everything that I prayed for and I needed and I expressed was there the next day. Imelda Lewis, how you doing, honey? Aqua Girl Rising, I think I said that. James Collins Cares. Hey, James. Kristen Melinda. I may be repeating some names, but that's okay. We can say it. You're so nice, we can say it twice. Lisa Thames, how are you, sweetie? Everybody come on in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Grab a seat. Get in where you fit in, wherever you're comfortable. Those of you who haven't made a comment, that's all well and good. You know the routine. Like, share, subscribe. If you're so inclined, join our membership. We have 3 membership levels. You know, your girl is just getting acclimated to all that. I'm not the techiest person in the world. However, our 3 levels are, because this is the nerd herd, we have the Poindexter level, we have the Urkel level, and we have the Encyclopedia Brown. That's when you are a total nerd like me. Come on in, have a great time. So I want to start out with the little order of business the boss lady Renee gave me, the dopest mod. I want to talk about all kinds of stuff tonight. We just, like I said, we're casual. We're just hanging out, having a word. You guys are going to come up on the screen, say what's on your mind, what you've been up to, things of that nature. And we're going to talk about, or perhaps I'll leave that for another show. Right now, what I want to do is shout everybody out. We have a long list of people, and Renee keeps me in order. And I want to make sure I shout out the people who have been consistent in showing us love. I want to shout out to Black Gold 347, Latoya, Tiffany, Celine, Nancy Jimenez, Tani Coco, aka Trina, Paige, Zanita, Subu Emgo, Starlight, Pretty Kitty, King Blue Hair, George Cervantes, Yana Artis 77, Esmeralda Gerard, Princess MNQ, Donesia Scott, Michi, Auntie Leah, hey girl, hey, Suri, Mrs. Stoner, Natalie P, The Black Barbie 777, Singing Bees, AC 104, JK, Fran Duran, Neek, AMB, Princess Minaj, Nicole Powell, hey girl, hey, hey Miss Gemini, Jocelyn Renee, hey girl, Marie Rose, Kiss a Smooch, hey, Nisha Gordon, Imelda Lewis, M. Zambrano, Crystal, Roberta Lane, Denisha Scott, Rosie Rose, Clean Black Sneakers, where you at, girl? I ain't seen you in a minute. Joy to the World, you in the house. Loretta Linares, Love Vibe, Atasham 72, Necessary Blackness. Hey, that's my homeboy, Necessary Blackness. That's my homeboy, Raheem Shabazz. He is the director of my sizzle reel, my docuseries Shot. You probably have seen the sizzle reel. If you haven't, check my page. You will see it. Where was I up to? Marigold Funnies, Miss Trinity, Aquamarine Goddess, Elijah Radcliffe, Daily Dana, Lakeisha Garland, Beverly George, Valentine TV, Dexter Thomas, that's my homeboy from Crown Heights, Brooklyn, WW Collaborations, Miss Tamika, Maya the MV tutor, or the Maya the DMV tutor, Sean C, Keisha Shanta, We Are All Ugly to Somebody, Mark Lindsay, Angela, Double D's on deck, Anita's Worth, Dog Lover, Yogi Sunlight, Tommy Collins, Naughty Love Movement, TLC, Miss Davis, Get Your Mind Aligned TV, Hey Girl, Real as It Gets, Monty So, NYC, Miss Ragadoon, VB, Ann Evans, IBA Sheed, Chessa Hilliard, my girl, Chrissy Y, or Chris Y, JJ, Jacqueline Carson, somebody named Diddy Docket, Renee 0704, and Kai 85. And I also want to take a moment to give some prayers to Loretta Linares. I want to give some prayers. And so I'm going to ask my friend Chessa, because when I tell you she is a mighty prayer warrior, to come up here. I've drafted the link in the chat. Dopest Mod, can you give that link to Chessa? Chessa, do you see the link? Come on to the stage, honey. You know, I gladly give a prayer, but I want you to get some of this prayer warrior special prayer. Shout out to Lily and anyone else that's joined the chat. Shout out to Chessa. She just became a new member. Thank you for becoming a new member, Chessa. Welcome to the Nerd Herd family. When I tell you this has been my friend for quite a number of years, this woman is special to me. And I mean that with my heart and soul. She is a really special person. Oh, you don't have the, okay, one moment. I put it in the chat. Let me put it in the chat. I'm sorry, in the comments again. Okay, I'm dropping the link right here, guys. That is the link to jump on. Hey, Natasha Fenton, how you doing? Diana L. Hey, everybody. Let me go back up this list for all the new names I missed out. I'm shouting out everybody. Come on in, y'all. Make yourself comfortable. Get your drink orders in. The Dopest Mod is taking drink requests. Kick off your shoes. Relax your feet. We family here. I think I might not have seen Sharon Dorsey. Welcome, Sharon. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me see what other names just came in. I think I said, let's see. Like I said again, Natasha Fenton, welcome, darling. Diana L, thank you. Good Friday to you as well. James Collin Cares, I know I said that. What an amazing name. Oh, absolutely. No, you don't have to be a Christian to be a child of God, honey. God is all of our God. He does not belong to Christians. He belongs to everyone. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. As a matter of fact, if anyone tells you otherwise, you tell them I said so. He is here for us all. He belongs to us all. He is here for us all. And we all are entitled to have a piece of God however we choose. That relationship with God, that spirituality I always talk about, it's your personal relationship with God, and you enjoy it however you enjoy it. You savor and, grow that relationship in your own way. That's what it is. It's special between you and God. No one has anything to do with that. No one. And like I always say, I'm not an organized religion person. I am a spiritual woman. What I have, my spirituality, what I speak is all about my personal relationship with God. I've been in a church. I grew up in a church. I had to step away. There's something in the Black community we call church hurt, where they set up a scenario of rules and stuff, and then sometimes the people who are the most faithful get stepped over in favor of those who, maybe project the biggest show or whatever. We don't do that here. This is about your own personal relationship, but we're just comfortable talking about it. So welcome in. Oh, you absolutely. Everybody can jump on. Everybody will come on. We'll give you about 2 or 3 minutes so that everybody gets a chance to come up. Did you figure out how you get up, Chessa? Press that link, and you may need to download the StreamYard guest app. Okay, she said she's not prepared. Okay, let me go on and say a prayer for our sister. Absolutely, not a problem. And I didn't mean to call you out like that, Chessa. I just know you're a prayer warrior, honey. Let me give this prayer for, hold on one second. Absolutely, it's not a problem in the world. You know, I'm never trying to call nobody out. So we are going to come into collective prayer for our sister, Loretta Linares. However you choose to receive this prayer, you're not obligated to bow your head. You can just listen whatever you want. I'm going to stretch out my hands so that I can reach our sister. Spirit of the living God, we come to you, Father God, repenting for any sin as a sin against you, O Lord. And you know our hearts and you know our will and our way, Lord God. Father God, we ask you collectively to continue to keep and cover our sister Loretta. Father God, we don't know what her need is, but we come to you humbly and ask that whatever her needs are, Father God, we trust and know that you will continue to meet all those needs. And Father God, we understand that you give it and you take it away. Sometimes we ask you for things that are not in our best interest or our best order. And so, Father God, we sacrifice and we surrender ourselves unto your whole will. Whatever it is, your desire for our sister, we ask a collective prayer of covering and just anointing in her heart and her spirit and her mind for whatever the need is, Father God. Can you meet her at her point of need in Christ Jesus' name? We will stand in the gap for our sister so that she can receive the love, the collective love and energy from this Nerd Herd family. Father God, all glory and honor are yours. We thank you in the matchless name of your son, Yeshua, the Christ of Nazareth. Amen, amen, and amen. We love you, girl. Whatever your need is, God got you. And we are civil and respectful in here. The dopest mod, she's running the show. She's going to have everybody in. Whoever wants to jump up, go ahead and click the link and come on up. It's in the chat, but I will post it again. Come on up. Say hi. Tell us what you think. What's on your mind? How do you feel? We just had a big election for those of you who are here. What do you think about the election? Let's have a collective woosah. I want everybody to take a deep breath and let it out. Take another deep breath, because what we're about to face for the next 4 years probably requires a good 20 deep breaths, but we're going to take another collective deep breath. I'm starting to feel better already. I know you guys are, and you should. Shout out to our sister Chessa. Didn't mean to put you on the spot, girl. So come on, guys. Who's coming up? Who said they were going to come up? Praise be to the Almighty. Indeed, Asheo. This week was very intense. Yes, it was. I think a lot of people were hanging at the edge of their seats, hoping for one turnout or the other. Happy Sabbath, everyone. Indeed, indeed. And for some people, it turned out the way they wanted. See, don't the deep breaths make you feel good? They make me feel so good. For some people, this week turned out joyous and everything that they could have imagined. And for others, I have to say that there was a collective monotonous mood over the town. I went to the gas station. I have never seen such a subdued gas station. It was almost eerie. Everybody's head was hanging low. I said, come on, Father God, we got to do better than this. Like, whew. Absolutely, honey. You're entitled. You're entitled. You're amazing. Thank you so much, Sharon. I appreciate that. When I tell you I've had quite the amazing time on the Sean Atwood show, I just want to give some love to all of my YouTube family who have treated me like a little sister and took me under their arms and took me with them to the, when mom said you can't go to the sock hop without your sister, take your sister with you. And they have just been taking me along, and I appreciate it. I'm growing in this YouTube walk. I appreciate it. I love you guys. I love it here. You know how you've been looking for your thing, or you're just going through life, thinking that your thing will show up, and then it shows up and you're like, where have you been all this time? That is what you guys are to me. That's how I feel about this YouTube walk. I am so in awe of the almighty blessing that I've received. First and foremost, I have to shout out Tisa Tells. She has a pivotal role in this whole thing for me. It was Tisa's reading of the Little Rod lawsuit that made me step out of the shadows. I was sitting on the couch. I mean, I got more comments about how dark my video was because I didn't have a ring light. I wasn't out there posting like that. However, I was listening to Tisa, watching Tisa, and she was reading the counsel Little Rod's lawsuit. And that is when I heard, okay, Suzanne's coming up. That is when I heard, what would go on to change the landscape of me being on YouTube. I heard the counsel of the lawsuit, and I heard him say that Puffy bragged about shooting me. And it caused me to do a TikTok that went incredibly viral. I didn't even think anybody would see it. I told my daughter when I picked her up, I said, well, I might as well tell you now, I did a TikTok, probably about 100 or 70 people, 70 people or 100 are going to see it. And she was like, oh Lord, what did you say? And by the time we got home, my daughter was like, Mommy. And I was like, what? She's like, 70,000 people. I was like, there's no way. I looked at it. I was like, wait, what happened? I didn't plan on it going that viral. It just happened. So, but I shout out to Tisa Tells, shout out to Jaguar Wright. I mean, she has just been an unbelievable blessing to me. She called my name and sang my praises and called on those who harmed me to redeem themselves by doing right by me, by admitting it, by paying the price, by calling for justice for me. And I had never met her. And finally I was like, no, we have to meet. And I owe a debt of gratitude to the dopest mod, Renee. Renee was like, I said, I got to get in touch with Jaguar. I don't understand. Like, I have to know this woman because she is just so powerful and really calling out for my blessings. And so said, so done. In no time, she was like, here's the email. I said, what? I mean, she was literally back with the email. So let me bring Suzanne up. Welcome, Suzanne. Can you hear? Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. We can hear you. Can you guys hear Suzanne? Put a 1 in the chat if you're able to hear her.
Okay. Okay.
You ready?
Okay. I'm here. Okay. Here. I'm here.
How you doing, Suzanne? What's on your mind? Talk to us.
Hey. Oh, goodness. Sorry. My husband told me my oldest desperately needed me to say goodnight to her, which
Aww.
I needed to.
Nothing like a mommy goodnight. Okay.
Yeah. That was Lily, the one you shouted out earlier. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, hey, let me get my head together here.
Take your time. We're here. We're family. Everybody's got their feet up with their cozy socks. Everybody's comfortable.
Yeah. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here because I really, really wanted to tell you this story, as you know. But I do need to ask you ahead of time. I'm trying to do a TLDR version, which means too long, didn't read, right? So please be patient with me.
Absolutely.
It's a bit of a long story, but I will try to keep it relevant. hopefully funny. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
So, okay. I guess it starts with I became a believer at 18 or 19 years old. It was July of 2005.
Okay.
So I was almost 20. So I was 19, almost 20. My birthday is August 16th. So I became a believer right before Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
And I was in the Chicago area at the time, Aurora, Illinois, and I went to school over in DeKalb, if anyone's familiar, Northern Illinois University. And I got connected with a church over there, and I also got connected with a parachurch organization called Campus Crusade for Christ. And hold on, I need to take a sip, sorry. Anyway, so they had some people going both into Chicago for the summer, into the inner city for, learning, just, ministering to people for, I think it was like 8 weeks in the city of Chicago. Mm-hmm. And that same summer, I went down to New Orleans for 2 weeks. And that summer changed my life. I believe that God put it on my heart to be there on the ground serving people wherever I was, right? So with that in mind, years went by. I was actually a theater and dance major at NIU. And the goal there was I was going to do Broadway, right? But things don't work out the way you think. Right. You think they are, right? So, anyway, I got a bead on a ministry in New Orleans that was still doing Hurricane Katrina and Rita at that point work. So this would have been 2009. I moved down to Slidell, which is on the North Shore. If anyone's familiar with the New Orleans area, that's across the Pontchartrain Lake. And I'm not going to name any names or anything like that. But so 2009, and I left that church/ministry organization in 2019. So it was a solid 10 years of both really good education as far as serving people and learning the word. However, it was a double-edged sword because the person who was the teacher and the preacher and the pastor, right? Finally, God exposed to me that he was a wolf. Wow. And he was a really good, convincing wolf. And as I've been away from that situation, I'm not a psychologist. I may be getting a degree in psychology right now, but I am not a psychologist. I can't diagnose anyone, but anyone who's been through narcissistic abuse probably understands where I'm coming from, right?
Absolutely.
So it's been a long road, and I will say that I came into the ministry full of joy and ambition and a desire to serve and learn and go. It was literally 3 months in, my spirit died, and I thought it was my fault. And that's how it continued for 10 years. So it was a desert for me spiritually, which broke me slowly over 10 years. Because when God revealed himself to me and pulled me out of where I was, which is an interesting story. If anyone's interested, I'd love to share, but that's not the important part today. He revealed himself to me, and he became my best friend. And I remember one of those first moments of prayer, you know, when you're really talking to him, and it's like a lifting of your body.
Absolutely.
And I remember the first time that happened to me, I was walking into a Borders Books to get my first Bible, and I was so excited.
Wow.
You know, I was praying to him. I was like, "Oh, I'm so excited to get your words," you know. And it really felt like I was floating. It didn't feel like my feet were on the ground. I know I was walking. I know my feet were on the ground, but it was that feeling. It was like an affirmation of my spirit to his spirit.
Yeah, your flesh was on the ground, but your spirit was definitely floating.
It was amazing. And you know what? I still to this day do not put my faith in necessarily what I feel. That is just icing on the cake, right? So moving on, that disappeared for me. That level of my relationship with him wasn't there, and I didn't know why, and I thought it was my fault. Okay,
it's not your fault.
I know.
Can I offer a suggestion?
Yeah.
Can I stick a pin here and offer a suggestion?
Sure.
A lot of times people experience that when we start to put our faith in the shepherd of the church we belong to. We put our faith in man instead of on God. We start to actually project our commitment to God onto the shepherd that's leading that church or whatever organization, whatever faith fellowship you have. We have to remember the shepherd is merely a vessel. And whether they take that shepherd out and put another one in, your eyes and your heart have to be fixed to God. It doesn't matter who the shepherd is. Well, let me retract that. Your shepherd should be a man of God. If you see things and evidence that suggests that he is not completely sold out to God, then you may have to withdraw yourself, because we are called upon to watch and be mindful of who is preaching a word to us. If you're being preached a word to someone whose duality is a negative thing, then you will get it on you. So if I may, one thing.
Oh, I apologize.
No, you're fine. No apology needed. If I could offer one thing, just keep your eyes fixed to God.
Absolutely.
You won't lose that.
I got to tell you the story real quick. So, I ended up being the one to expose him because I was so close to him. He was like a father to me, right? And I had found out from his two eldest daughters that he had engaged in an extramarital affair, and that they knew about it and had confronted him. And then he cried the crocodile tears, said, "I'm never going to do it again. Please don't tell anybody, especially your mother," right? Fast forward, and I didn't say anything. Fast forward years, 2018, February, my first child is born. This is 3 weeks later. My best friend comes over to my house and says, after a lot of time together, "Hey, I have to tell you something. I lied to you years ago, and I told you that my mother-in-law was having an affair with someone that she met at work. But the truth is, she was having an affair with our pastor." Okay, so this is a separate incident. This is now a pattern with this man. And I said, "No, he's done this before." I told her that. I said straight up. It was literally the moment I said, "Absolutely not. He is now no longer he wasn't before, but you see, I was thinking grace, right?
Yeah.
Of course, that's a good thing. However, once I saw it was a pattern, no, he's no longer able to be standing in the pulpit. Absolutely not.
You made the right decision. You made the right decision, because it's like, let me give you an example. I was in the supermarket the other day, and I was in what they call the international aisle. I'm Caribbean, so I love to get the items that, remind me of my childhood and my culture. And I'm in the international section, in the Caribbean section, and I saw they had these little microwave cups of cornmeal porridge. Now, any Caribbean person knows that is the breakfast of champions. And so I'm thinking, I don't want the little microwave version. I should just make a pot of cornmeal porridge. Well, I see a fine bag of cornmeal on the shelf, because you got to get the fine dust to make the porridge. I pick up the bag, and instantly a bunch of the dust flies out and gets all over me. It's in the crevices of my pocketbook, everything. I was like, what is? So now I've lost my taste for cornmeal porridge, because this thing had a hole and it busted all over me. And I'm trying to dust all of this cornmeal in my bag. That is what sin does. If you fellowship, now we're all human and we're all fallible. None of us are perfect, and we're all susceptible to sin. But if your shepherd, the one who is the vessel from God that is supposed to be helping you navigate the waters of this thing called spirituality and belief, if your shepherd is that bag of cornmeal with a hole in it, and he is cavorting and doing things that are not consistent with the word, you're going to get it all over you. It's going to get in the crevices of your heart, your mind, your soul, and next thing you know, anything goes with you. Yep. I don't advise everybody to take on the role of bringing down that shepherd from the flock. But I will say, and it was very admirable of you, but I will say, if nothing else, you have to remove yourself, because you will get it on you. God doesn't mind someone who is naive and doesn't know anything about the word. If you don't know anything about the word, he will sooner forgive you and give grace and mercy to you than he would for a worshiper who knows the word, knows his doctrine, and still does whatever they want. That's called carnality. God doesn't play with carnality. That's the willful sinning, willfully disavowing. He don't play with that. So I would advise anybody who, if you have somebody who lives that kind of life, that's not who should be your shepherd. But like I tell people, I'm not speaking against organized religion. What I'm saying is, in anything that is an organization, the foundation of every organization is rules and control. People put rules in place to control others. For some reason, society has not gotten it together with all that we know of history. Society has this obsession with control. And people end up church hurt. What you're explaining in the Black culture, we call that church hurt. That's the first time your heart is broken by somebody you put all this faith in, because faith is the evidence of things unseen. But once they start giving you evidence of things that you know don't comport with the word, you got to exit stage left. You got to, for your own salvation. So I don't want you to step away from your belief, but stepping away from this shepherd was the right thing to do. He has to get himself together. So I'm super proud of you, Suzanne. I appreciate you.
I appreciate it.
You're absolutely welcome. And you can come here anytime and talk to me about this. Natasha's sitting on the stage. I'm going to pull her up. Thank you so much, first and foremost, for sharing with us and allowing us to be a part of that. You are brave. You are brave. I can hear the trepidation and I could hear the angst in your voice about the disappointment. But that is why I tell people, keep your eyes fixed on God, because man will fail you every time, but guess who won't? God won't. We may not understand everything that God is doing, but everything is revealed in his time. One day I was sitting at a job years ago. When I say years ago, I told you my oldest one is 35. He was a little kid. And God just imparted some wisdom, dropped it in me. And I remember it fresh. I could see myself sitting at the desk right now. I was a reservations clerk at a hotel. And God said, all of our greatest lessons come at the edge of a sword. For as we recoil from the pain, the lesson is indelibly marked in our brain. This had to be, I don't even think my son was, maybe he was 10. And he's 35.
Wow.
As we recoil from the pain, the lesson is indelibly marked in our brain. And you know what recoil from the pain popped into my head? When Yeshua was on the Christ. Well, Yeshua the Christ was on the cross. Mm-hmm. And the Philistine poked him in the side. Mm-hmm. See, it's that pain. If our lessons don't come with a modicum of pain, we forget it.
Man,
you ever had something happen and you had to repeat it 2, 3, 4 times until you got it? Because the first 2 times didn't come at a cost. When a lesson comes at a cost, you don't forget it. Anything that you whiz by, it doesn't usually stick. And so thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You can come back here anytime and talk to us about this. Absolutely. We have everybody give a hand to Suzanne. It takes a lot of courage to come up, especially when you're not used to this. And come on, Natasha. Coming to the stage is Natasha Fenton. Hi, Natasha. How are you?
I'm okay. You didn't need to kick Suzanne off. We could all be on.
No, we're not kicking her off. I want to give everybody their opportunity.
Oh, bless you.
We
I
appreciate
just want to say,
Suzanne for
first and
sharing with us.
foremost,
That was
you
beautiful.
are.
Thank you.
So you are, first and foremost, you are the strongest woman that I've seen for a long time.
Thank you.
The strength is taking you to fight. I have followed your story for quite a while, but it wasn't until he went on to the Sean Atwood that I got your link, because obviously it's not related to your name. Mm-hmm. But I just want to come on and thank you, because you are.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I appreciate that, Natasha. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. I am truly humbled, honestly. It means the world.
I think a lot of people have been through hard times. I would love to be more in touch with the Lord, but because I've not been brought up in that sort of situation with church, I have found a calling, but I kind of relate to it as my spirit guides. Okay. As opposed to the one. So I always use my ancestors and my spirit to guide me.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Because if
absolutely, I call my ancestors
with the higher that I should have, then they're the ones to go through for that. But you have got so much strength coming forward and staying with your ground, being consistent.
Thank you.
And fighting for what's right.
I appreciate it.
I tried in the past and failed. You know, it's just, there's so many loops to jump through. You've got to prove this, you've got to prove that. When from a young age, you can't always prove it. And then you end up on your backside and you have to deal with that and manage that. Indeed. You know, within yourself.
Indeed. And I found a good way to handle that is to only have to prove something to God.
Yeah, that's why I always say my spirit guides. Because I've never been directed. Well, I am born Christian. And I did sort of like church parade and stuff as a child, but I didn't find my place. I just look up to something higher than myself. And that's the ones that I love that have passed. And I trust them to sort of guide me along my journey, I guess.
That's so beautiful. I appreciate that. First of all, that is a beautiful thing. When I tell you, I call on my ancestors for so much because they are guides, our spirit guides. They walk with us. We stand on their shoulders.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I believe.
I truly do. And it's so important to me.
Yeah. And they always hear you.
Absolutely.
And that's where you gain your power.
And that's how we continue to give them reverence, by not forgetting them. They paid a price for us to be able to be here to do what it is we do. And we have to continue to honor them. At least that is my sincere belief. And I always do.
And I think my highest respect is for my grandparents, because my nan was white and my grandpa was from the Caribbean originally.
What
So I'm
island?
sort of like, I look white, but I always say I'm mixed because I
What
love my
island is he
gramps.
from?
You know, he's Dominican.
Okay,
He was from the Dominican.
nice.
And I just think how they must have fought to be able to maintain that relationship sort of 80 years ago. You know, they had a letter off the Queen for their 70th anniversary or 60th anniversary. And I just think, wow, it may not have been easy, but so many people give up too quick these days.
That's right.
You just got to sort of make your choice and stick to it. We're given too many options, and I don't like it.
Yeah, they had something really special back then. They had staying power. I think it is, we have such an abundance of information. I remember when things started to change in the world. You see this ticker we have at the bottom of the screen that says the dopest nerd. Don't you guys remember, those of you of a certain age, do you remember when the news started to run that ticker? There was a time, a far gone era where that ticker didn't run. But I remember when that ticker hit the TV. And once that ticker started to move at the bottom of the TV, it was like we had to retrain our brains to be able to watch the newscaster and whatever the ticker was saying. And I knew then that the world was changing. And I was a teenager. I knew it. I said, this is a lot for the brain to do. But we did it. And then it was never ending news. I remember when the TV used to sign off. And we talk about those good old days. You remember those good old days? Something to be said about the good old days. It gave our brains a moment to rest. It gave our moment. We knew that at a certain time you had to turn everything off and just be and just interact with the family.
Just be present.
And that's missing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's
is missing.
Yeah.
I've got memories. Like, I'm only 36, but I've got memories of my nan playing black and white films to me constantly. Most people would have had Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or whatever. No, Watch with Mother, black and white. Bill and Ben, Flower Pot Men, you know. And I was fine with that.
Yeah.
And now it's just they've got so much access to too much.
Too much information. They have sensory overload. They have
completely. I think we do too.
We do. Everyone does. Yeah. We have information at nonstop information, and the life cycle of a thought is 3 seconds or less. Yes. That's horrible.
And it's hard to explain to my son as well with the media outlets that they've got access to. And I said it, depending on what you watch or what you see or who you follow, it's how they want you to think.
Absolutely.
It's a manipulation. Government is a manipulation. You are being manipulated by anyone in power.
Let me tell you something. When I was younger, my stepdad used to call the TV. He used to say, turn off that tell-lie-vision. He called it a tell-lie-vision. And he said, that's the idiot box. Everybody's going to turn into an idiot watching this box. And we would just be like, that's so old-fashioned. That's ridiculous. He was 100% right.
Of course.
Yep. And look at the word. If you dissect the etymology of the word, tell-lie-vision, telling you a lie while you're to your vision, while you're watching. They're filling propaganda. You could be watching a story and they will be narrating something totally inconsistent with that story, and you'll sooner
1,000,000%
than what you see.
And this is why it's only, I'd say the last 2 months I've got into YouTube only because of the kids and because I'm trying to follow like things on TV and whatever, and I'm just like, no, I don't want media. I want real.
Yeah.
I want real life. I want experience. I want people to stand up and give their views. I want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
And I think
of YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Which is where I found myself the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And I've literally caught up on about 2 years of truth in about 2 weeks.
I'm going to tell you guys some channels that you should also watch. The Dopest Mod is going to put them in the channels. So it's going to put them in the comments. There are some YouTubers that I watch, and there is, so, you know, just like you said, that propaganda that's been fed to us, and we believe a certain thing for so long because mainstream society made you feel like this is what you had to believe and this was the way it was, including history and everything. Well, I'm about to blow your mind. There are some channels that I watch. Please copy and paste or write them down out of
I've got another phone.
The channels are I am Q Hef. The dopest mod is going to place them all with a link in the chat. I am Q Hef. There's another one, Perky, another one, Dre _ OG, and another one, Right 7X. When I tell you, you are going to get the education of a lifetime. So much has been told to us that is a lie. There are a lot of content creators who have committed themselves. Just like I am sold out and committed for God, they have committed themselves to this truth and uncovering the lies. When I tell you, you are about to get a lesson, you are about to get a PhD in YouTube University. I promise you. Those content creators, she's putting them right in.
Yeah, I'm following them as she's putting them in.
Definitely, please start looking at those channels. I promise you, you are going to get it's gonna and suspend your belief in suspend your desire to believe all of the social programming that has been engineered.
I don't though. That's the problem. I don't. Yes. So I'll start watching something. If they're copying someone's content or putting media outlets on their lives, I'm like, nope, next.
Start
I haven't
watching
got time
those
for that.
And so what and I'm telling you guys, in order to take in all the information, I want you guys to prepare yourself to deconstruct what you thought and believed about all of the lies they told us, and so you can reprogram your mind with new, fresh information that is more rooted towards the truth. We have been lied to. I'm talking the world over. We have been lied to by the powers that be. There are things like a civilization called Tartaria, which has been all but annihilated from the history books. They were advanced. They had electric scooters and mopeds and all that in Tartaria. And they don't want to tell you any of these things. We have something called it slipped my mind. As soon as it pops back up, I'll tell you. I'll put it in the chat. But we have so many places here in America that they try to tell us, oh, it's a national forest. Oh, no one can go in this part of town. And there are like Egyptian tombs and gold and all types of stuff under there, but they won't tell us.
Do you know what? Funny you bring up the Egyptians. I always get drawn back to it because of the scriptures and the pyramids and the carvings. And I just feel like there's like evidence. I'm always drawn to black cats as well.
You're about to
literally just bought a black cat a few months ago.
You're about to get an education.
I don't know why.
A guy just came out. He I forget his name. I'm going to post the story on my channel when I find it. I was watching a little news story from this news story was actually from Israel. I was watching it. They don't want to talk about it here in America. This guy was an American guy here, and there was something, I forget how he came to know about the story, but there was someone said that he looked exactly like Ramses III. Ramses III, that we know that who Moses was raised by, who the family that Moses was raised with. This guy looks exactly like the statue of Ramses III. And then he has a brother, and his brother looks exactly like the statue of Seti. And when I tell you twins, they have a dog, the same kind of hound dog that Ramses had. He has a company, you know, the Eye of Horus, the Eye of Horus. He has a company. His company's logo was an eye.
Really?
The acronym of his company spelled out SETI, SETI, which is an alternate name for Ramses III. I mean, history has been hidden from us. The bloodline is so strong. Ramses and Seti was supposed to be from in excess of 4,000 years ago. He looked like the statue was made of him last week.
Really?
When I say flawless, and I truly believe God is talking to us. You cannot have those kind of coincidences just by, I mean, the likelihood of a coincidence like that is almost unheard of. And so I want us to be aware that we need to open our collective minds and see that we have more in common than we do. You know,
it's all around us, regardless of our color, regardless of our religion, regardless of our upbringing. Right. It's more than that. We are more than that. Mm-hmm. Regardless of how we were brought up, we can go against it or we can continue it.
And we can just explore. and open our minds to a bunch of other things. You
Yeah.
know, some people have a vested interest in us only believing a certain thing, and I think that day is gone. And Mother
That's
Nature
why
is
I say
speaking
I'm
to
not
us.
sure whether I want to commit to one thing. I
Yeah,
believe in a higher power.
that's right.
I just don't know what to call it, you
That's
know?
right.
So I just call it my guide.
Well, there is a saying, and I saw somebody just put it in here: "Know thyself."
Yeah,
Because
completely.
indeed, know thyself. Everything we need to know, we are going to
But
find.
I think when we know thyself, we are
Say it once
able to
again.
sort of make collective decisions on others also and see past the lies, past
Mm,
the facade,
That's right.
and past what is actually going on in the world.
That's right.
And you can actually sort of make that opinion on, I don't believe that, but I do believe that.
Hmm. That's right.
I
I think
wholly believe you.
the
I
truth.
wholly believe in Jack. I'm
That's right. Thank
skeptical
you.
against
Thank you.
Courtney, but I think he's trying to backtrack and backpedal because it is what it is.
Hmm.
You know, he's
I haven't.
being subpoenaed again now.
Yeah, I heard that. I haven't looked so deep into him. I've only seen like a bit of this and a bit of that,
Yeah,
and
I seen the original interviews and he was going hard on naming people and imagery and everything.
yeah, I don't understand what that
And
whole
it's
thing about.
like, but if he didn't have it, why would he be able to sort of say that? But if he
I
did,
don't think he
if he
doesn't
didn't
have
see
it.
it,
I
he
don't think
said
he
he didn't
doesn't
see
have
it.
it. It's my sincere belief. I don't think that he doesn't have what he says he has. I just think that, and this is
He
my
doesn't.
sincere
He
belief.
doesn't have it.
No, I
He's
don't believe that. I believe he does.
he's the sort of like he's the bulldog. He's the one that's been put out there to say he's got it.
I
It's
believe he
coming
does
from
have
another source, and I think I know who it is.
it. Here,
I'm not going to name
and I
names because
respect
it's
that, but
all alleged.
I respect that. Here's my thing. I believe he does have something. They
Oh, he
wouldn't
has a
call him to
source.
the feds twice. The feds are not going to call you twice.
The feds
if you
didn't
don't
do a
have
raid
anything.
though. The feds didn't raid him.
You
He
know
was
what?
subpoenaed.
You got
The
to
feds
remember.
turned up with a subpoena,
So
and I've seen the subpoena document online.
So here's the thing. The feds, when the feds come for you and you're called into court immediately, you're in court immediately. That's when they came and got you.
Yeah.
The feds you don't report to court. The feds will give you 2 weeks and say report to court by this date. If the feds come to your house and you're in court the next day, that's a raid. Attorneys use words.
Is that what they call it, a raid? Is that why he's saying he was raided?
I truly believe it was, because here's the deal.
Because
attorneys will use word semantics. Attorneys are very skilled at word semantics.
Yeah.
There's something in America called Black's Law Dictionary, and what we think are traditional words that everybody knows in everyday society couldn't be the furthest thing from what they're saying. There's a whole other language. Look up Black's Law Dictionary. You'll be astounded.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
You'll be astounded at basic words that have a total other meaning. And so whenever you hear,
but the media's taken it and ridden with it, saying his house was raided, all the media was ceased.
Well, here's the deal. I'm sure he
wouldn't be called a second time. He
wouldn't be called if they didn't get anything.
He was subpoenaed to court. They've requested documents, therefore he has to then go back on the subpoena and take the documents or files that he claims.
The feds are not calling you twice if there's nothing. They're not. They're very efficient in their duties.
I'm not being funny, but did he wouldn't ask for a gag? Did he would not put his solicitors up or attorney to ask for a gag order if they thought he was chatting rubbish?
Exactly.
He would just be like, "Oh, well, let him get on with it because it's all false anyway." So
you are right.
You don't go and ask your attorney to write to the jury and say, "I want a gag order on this person," if you don't feel they've got anything against you. It's as simple as that. He's just literally put his foot right in it, but that's karma.
Here's what I feel like he was motivated by. And if anybody else wants to come up, definitely jump in the chat. I put the link in the chat. Here's what I feel like he was motivated by. I feel like because he put the book out 2 years ago and nobody bit, and so he wanted to perhaps honor his word or get the book out, or he wanted, self-aggrandizement, whatever. He realized his version of the book and how he constructed it was not going to hit when he came along. So they were searching for someone who was willing to do this thing.
Chris
I
Todd.
suspect that they spoke to many people, but nobody wants to stand against certain people. That's why I was rolling solo for so long in this truth-telling streets, because people don't want to go up against a giant. Just call me David. I'm
of
not
course,
scared of
but
Goliath.
it's not just that.
I got
But
a
you
sling
don't
and a
want to put
stone.
your whole life on the
No, but
line,
hold
knowing
on.
what this crowd is capable of.
Oh, no. I've put my whole life. I've done this for 25
I
years.
know you've put your whole life, but
25 years. Trust me, I've sacrificed a lot to be
that's
a
what I
truth
mean.
teller.
But you've put your whole life watching your whole
But
back.
here's the deal. When he gave this, I believe they searched for someone to help them put this book out. Everybody he came across refused, or wasn't skilled enough, or thought he was crazy, or whatever. He came across the right person, Chris.
Yeah.
When he linked with Chris, and it took a while, like Chris said, to give him the book. When he linked with Chris modified it, made it, he said he corrected it grammatically. He omitted some names because he felt like it was just too much too soon, and he put it out. When he put it out, the book went viral. So now it is my opinion and sincere belief that perhaps Courtney felt overshadowed. And he was like, oh, he's getting all the fame. I'm the one that had the book. Why is he getting all the fame? And so he jumped out. I got a book too. And that, when you are motivated by the wrong thing, when you are motivated by self-aggrandizement and a desire for fame and a desire for, oh, why is he getting more attention than me? It will always go wrong.
Yeah, because his book was going to be better because it had more truths.
Well,
but it was also going to hurt people that are still here, that have already been through pain, and it would leak a lot more than what it has.
Well,
I've read both of them. I've read both of them.
Clearly, somebody compiled this information in order for the information to get put out. But I sincerely know, if you are moving in the right direction for the right reasons, from pure integrity, it will go well. But if you are moving from the wrong place, and your motivation is self-aggrandizement and being flamboyant and exposing people and just making this big splash so the attention and the specter of light comes on you, you're going to get that specter of light. You better be able to handle it. And that's what he is facing right now.
Yeah, do you know what though? But I actually kind of I am more sliding towards him, because he put the real unedited vision out, unedited.
I have mixed feelings about that. I have mixed feelings.
He's tripping up a lot.
Well, because you have to be a spirited communicator in order to step into what it goes back to what I was saying. His motivation to come out was not rooted in a sincere attempt to get the truth out or get what was meant to be out. It was more so, ooh, look at me. Why is he getting all the attention? I want that attention. And I'm not saying he or Chris or anyone is better. I'm saying he was motivated by the fact that if he sold in the culture, we have a saying, your record went double wood. That means you didn't sell anything. His book went double wood. And
I don't understand that world. I'm UK.
Okay. And you're getting a crash course today. His book went double wood, like it didn't sell anything. 2 years. And then Chris comes out, modifies a few things, gets the book formatted, omits some names, and it goes viral. For someone who feels like they've been living in the shadows, that is too much fame for the other person to get.
And that's why Jag's getting frustrated at him also, though.
Did you see
that? Did you see that interview with Jag and Burgess after on Sean Atwood?
With Jag and Courtney?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
I know.
Not. But see, Courtney is just
no comment.
For whatever reason, he does not have a mastery. He is not the personality type to do interviews, to be able to be quick-witted and land on his feet. He doesn't have that capacity.
Basically, he's been told to just shut up.
I don't know if that's the word. I think everybody
from them, but he goes on interviews, but he can't answer them questions.
I think everybody should have their say. I don't think anybody per se has to shut up. I just think that if it's not your forte, you cannot. If you are the sparring partner for a little kid's exhibition boxing ring. You cannot go in the ring and spar with Mike Tyson. You can't.
No.
And that's what his problem was. He's out of his weight class. He's out of his weight class, and he brought unnecessary light and specter and all of this on himself because he was not motivated by a pure desire to get Kim's words out. He was
because it wasn't his word out.
Pardon?
I said it wasn't his word getting out. It's the middleman.
No. I said
he's
Kim's
the middleman. Yeah,
I said
it's
Kim's word, not his word.
Yeah, Kim's word, but he's the middleman. He's been given this information from an unknown source.
Doesn't matter. I know the source that gave him the information. I know.
I think I do too, but that's not to be.
I know who gave him the information. The point is that he was not motivated from a pure place. He was motivated for self-aggrandizement, and you never win when your heart is in the wrong place. It won't ever win.
And I agree.
If
it was the main source putting it through, of course it would come out completely differently to what it's being presented as at the minute.
That remains to be seen. However,
we'll find out.
I think that the main source is a celebrity who has too much to lose to come forward. They perceive themselves that way. But I thank you so much, Natasha. You are super dope. You are welcome here anytime. It was
thank you. I appreciate you.
You're absolutely welcome. Come anytime. And if you are so led, by all means, join all of that.
Okay, I'm gonna say in the comments though. I'll speak soon.
Absolutely. Anybody, that was amazing. First of all, shout out to Suzanne and shout out to Natasha. You guys, anybody want to come up? I put the link in the chat. I will put it back in here. Come on up. Have your say. Uh-oh. There we go. Step right up. Step right up. This is so much fun. Let me see what's going on in the chat. What am I missing? What am I missing in the chat? What am I missing? Hey, Auntie Leah. Shout out to Auntie Leah. Yep. I hear somebody saying, not here to save the children for money. This sounds like what I was thinking. Let's go. I'm scrolling back up the chat so I can answer some of these questions. Okay, let's see where we are. It's trafficking or hikers that got into trouble, other nefarious things in serial. Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. Anybody want to come up? I put the link in the chat. By all means, come up, have your say. Tell us what's on your mind. How you feeling about things? What do you want to talk about? Yes, we need to recall who and what we are. Expressions of mishonesty. Let me put that up there. Yes, indeed. We need to recall who and what we are. That is a great statement. Yeah, the national park I was talking about was the Grand Canyon. Like, you know how much secrets are in the Grand Canyon that we have no clue of because they don't want us anywhere near there? There is a saying that the Grand Canyon, if you go into the cavernous regions of the Grand Canyon, it will lead you to Africa. They don't want us to know that. They don't want us to know. Not the least of which is once you start watching these content creators I tell you about, you will see where they find doors on mountains that look like a rocky mountain. They open the doors and there is a secret tunnel passageway in there. There's so much going on in this world that mainstream society has not been made aware of. And I tell you, it is going to blow your mind. Prepare to have your mind blown. Prepare to have your mind blown. Yeah, we're not going to participate in the separatist stuff that made us have these issues with all the mud floods taking place and people losing their lives and losing everything and roads, bridges just falling away and houses flowing down the river. Hey, Glorianne, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
I can. Welcome to the stage. How are you? Welcome to the dope.
Good. Hold on, let me mute my laptop real quick because
Sure.
I'm watching you, and then
Oh, okay.
you invited us in, so I'm like, oh, let me chat with her
Come
because
on in.
I
Come on
I
in.
actually spoke to Jaguar Wright the other
Oh,
day,
wow.
and for years I've just watched her on
Mhm.
YouTube. I'm like, this lady is saying some like truth that
Mhm.
I knew for years, but you know that term, that
Absolutely.
conspiracy, you know that term. So it's been really healing for me, like
Mhm.
extremely healing to hear her story, then your story. It's like
Wow.
we're all connected. It's
Yes.
like that dynamic of abuse of power is so
Mhm.
common. Um, people struggle with it in different ways, but I really wanted to get on the call and say, thank you for sharing your story. I'm
Thank
sure it
you.
must have been very difficult for many years trying to protect your family.
Yep.
Um, I'm very, very happy to speak to you because you give me so much hope.
Thank
You know,
you.
I can't say I've dealt with the severity of things that
Mhm.
you have, but I've dealt with like abuse, in different
And
ways, and it had affected me, and I thought my life would never get better at one point. So right now I could say I'm at the peak of my life where I feel so content and free, and so when I hear stories like yours, I'm like, you know what, everybody deserves that.
Mhm.
We
We do.
struggle, we go up and down, but that's like a human thing.
Yeah.
But everybody deserves to be free. I
You
just
have said a mouthful, my dear. Let me tell you something. And look me in my eye. You have a 100% success rate for everything you've been through. You are bigger than all that tried to come against you. You are bigger and stronger. You know what that piece you said such a mouthful. Everybody deserves to be free. You see that freedom you feel? You see that contentment you feel? That is worth all the gold in Fort Knox. You have ascended. You've overcome what tried to put you down. And let me tell you something. Nobody robs an empty store. If there are stores on the block that are empty and there's stores on the block that have luxury designer goods, nobody's going to say, you guys go down there. I'm going to go over here to the empty store. When somebody's coming to you, it's because you have value. You are full of value. And they are so afraid that if they don't demonize you, you will eclipse them and not need them anymore.
thank you for
I don't
sharing.
care if it's a boss. I don't care if it's a former spouse. I don't care if it's a parent. Sometimes they can see a light in us so bright. Beware of the people standing next to your light. Some people are standing there because they want to support you in your life.
Yes.
Some people are standing there because they want your light to cast light onto them so they can look bright and shiny too. And some people are standing there because they want a front row seat to your demise, and others are closer because they want to put your light out. Always figure out who's who. Get that spirit of discernment. The first voice is the voice of God. Listen for that voice. You are beautiful. And I can see that you have power and majesty in you that is stronger than I'm telling you. I can see it in you. You have a light in your eyes. You're just so bright and
Can I actually share something with you?
Sure.
You mentioned your children in I think it was the interview on Sean Atwood's platform.
Mhm.
You mentioned your children, how there's so many times you wanted to give up and then they gave you that strength, like they would just walk in the door. And I wanted to share that prior to me having my child, when my first daughter at 21, I didn't know what any love felt like until she came into my life. So my heart cracked open. It just like inexplainable. When I was at the hospital and I carried her, it was like, whoa, like
Mhm.
it's like God sent her there at that time to meet me, to remind me of how powerful, because I was in such a dark place, and I would look at her and I would say, wow, this pure innocent life deserves a loving mother. So it made me rethink all of my situations. So I wanted to say that I appreciate you saying that, because
Thank
it's not
you.
a lot of people that I can speak to that understand that feeling. So God
I'm
bless
telling
your
you,
children. I can only imagine how strong they are because they have a mother like
they
you.
are, when I tell you they are so strong, there was a time after I got shot where my sons raised me. When I tell you, I have so much respect for my children. I always say I hit the womb Powerball. If I wasn't their mother, I'd still be their friend. They are so dope, so amazing. My daughter, oh my goodness. I want y'all to say hi. Nirvana, come here.
I love that. I love hearing relationships like mother, daughter, or children, because it's like there's so many broken families, which, by the way, Jaguar speaks about.
Yeah.
And it's like I told her on the call, I'm like, I grew up in Queens, New York.
Okay.
And
Brooklyn
I
in
was
the
born
house.
in
Hey, New York sister.
So see, if you can survive New York City, I feel like you can appreciate life anywhere, because
Yes, you can.
it's such a concrete jungle, put it like that.
Hi, guys. Hi. Oh, beautiful. Look at you. You are gorgeous. Hi, cutie.
Hi.
Hey, sweetie. How you doing?
Those are my
Oh,
my
thank
pride
you
and
for
joys.
sharing that with us. They're gorgeous. Beautiful. Look at that smile on your face.
I'm blessed.
Magic right there.
Never did I think I'd be speaking to you face to face, Natanya, because like I said, I watched a lot of your interviews. The first interview I saw with you was on Tisa Tells.
Okay.
That was the first time. She blew it up. She said, "Oh, we're gonna have a witness." I had no clue that this ever happened to you, or that this ever happened. But then again, that's the whole point of this.
They had to. Yeah. You look spectacular to me.
Oh, trust me.
Just take a picture for 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. Just give him a little face. It's your Nerd Herd family. They think you're beautiful. Come. Nirvana, you look spectacular. Just come. Flip your
Trust me, it will mean so much to us to see how beautiful and happy and healthy.
Come here. She's just gonna dip in real quick. She's a beauty queen. Look how beautiful.
Hi. He's so adorable. Is that your youngest?
That's the youngest, yeah.
That's your
getting
baby.
ready to go to college. Yeah. Now I'm
God
gonna be
bless. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, everything you share is proof, and I hope everybody that watches you on YouTube, I'm telling you, it's like so inspirational. How you said it in the video, you made a good point. You said, how can people not believe you when you are literally alive right now?
Yes.
You get it? Like this, it's just like, I mean, I could say I don't get it, but we have to accept there is no light without darkness.
That's right.
And you get to choose. That's the best part about being human. You get to choose.
There you go, girl.
Where you want to be. And I choose love. I choose to chat with you and smile. I choose for my daughters to hear your voice.
Thank you.
Words of inspiration, proof. I actually have a friend that was shot in the face by her boyfriend a couple years ago, and she survived as well. And
God bless her.
I haven't gotten to see her after that, but I grew up with this girl, and that's also part of the system, is like that relationships, people not learning how to be a good partner, a lot of insecurities, self-shame.
A lot of broken people trying to go.
That's what it is. And that's why I guess I really sorry, I'm at a loss of words, but like the children aspect of what I don't think a lot of people realize what this actually has to do with children currently. But I'm gonna let you go, Natanya, because my children are now wanting my attention.
Let me tell you something. First of all, my mother's name is Gloria, so as soon as I saw your name, that resonated with me. You are beautiful. You are. I can see.
We will chat again, I hope, because I subscribe to you.
I'm here.
After you,
come anytime. We're gonna do this often. I want people to come up and have their say. You're welcome to come up anytime you want.
Literally, I feel like I have a friend right now. Thank you. I mean, always with my kids and my man working, but hearing you discuss what you talk about, to me, that's so meaningful. It's like real value to your words. So.
God be the glory. I appreciate that. When I speak of God, I am 100% pure. God is everything in my life. There were times where I could turn to the right and turn to the left and nobody was there, but God was always with me, my children and God. And sometimes it was a lonely 25-year walk. Other times everybody was there, but there were times where it was a lonely walk, and I was resolute because I could feel God with me. and God talked to me and said, I'm here. You're not by yourself. I'm here. Keep walking.
That's why you have that comforting aura to you.
Yeah.
Like everything is going to be all right. You know, like I'm talking to you and I know everything is going to be all right. No matter what I'm going through, we're all going to be okay. And the best part is like we got to interact with one another. Who would have thought, right? Two completely different people have so much in common, which to me is more important than anything else. Your values.
And you my New York sister. Hey,
yeah, you know what? When I came to Texas, people were like, "You're not from here." I'm like, "How do you know that?"
They can tell. They always say your accent. I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm from New York." I don't have an accent. We do.
It was very nice speaking to you.
It was a pleasure meeting
God bless you.
Thank you for being a part of the Nerd Herd. God bless you. We family now, girl. Get your bus by the front door. Give the dopest mod your drink order. And you're welcome.
Bye.
My nieces, I said good night.
Say bye-bye.
Bye, baby. Mwah.
Tired.
We got Murphy James. Murphy James, come to the stage. Hey, honey, how are you?
Hello. Can you hear me?
What a sweetie pie you are.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Everybody put a 1 in the chat if they can hear Murphy James. And thank you so much for the Glorianne. Everybody give a shout out to Suzanne. Everybody give a shout out to Natasha and Murphy James and Glorianne.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Do you mind speaking about Courtney a bit more?
You know, I have the jury is still out on him with me.
Can I do you mind? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, you can talk. Absolutely. Tell me what you think.
Right. So if you go to Amazon and do a search on Courtney Burgess, it says that he was friends with Diddy for 35 years.
Wow.
But on the Atwood channel, he said that he'd never met Diddy.
Wow. Yeah, I did hear him say that on an interview.
If you go to his LinkedIn, it says that he met Tupac in '92 when he was 16, but on his LinkedIn, he's on the interview. He said that he was 16. At first, he said he was between 9 and 15. Why would you say
9 and 15? That's a spread.
Yeah, exactly.
That is
right.
crazy.
So that was the first red flag. And then he went, oh, no, wait a second. I was 16 and it was in 92. But then if you go to his LinkedIn, it says that he was at university between 88 and 91, which would have made him 15 when he went to university.
And you said pull him up on Amazon?
Right. If you go to Amazon, it says the Amazon thing, he said that he was in the music industry for 35 years.
Okay.
But on Amazon it says 28 years in his description.
I need to do a little more research on him because honestly I haven't researched him. Here's the type of person I am.
I've got all the photos that I can send you.
Definitely send them to me. Definitely. You're on the Discord, right?
Yeah.
Send them to me. Let me tell you something. I'm the type of person I've always prided myself on. You know, sometimes you could be in a friend group or something and somebody might say like, oh, Lisa gets on my nerve. I can't stand her. Or I don't like Bobby.
Yeah.
And you're like, I was always the person that's like, oh, you have a problem with Lisa? Well, hold on. Lisa, where you at, girl? Come over here. We need to talk. And you guys confront each other and have a discussion. Confront to me doesn't mean an argument. Communication comes in so many different facets. But so many people are comfortable saying something behind people's back and not in their face. And that never, resonated with me. I'm comfortable having discussions. I'm comfortable talking to people. And so, but what I'm even more comfortable with is the spirit of discernment that I've developed over years. And I try to feel people. I feel that energy so something was amiss the very first time that I experienced Courtney. And that was from seeing him on YouTube. And I was like, what's the deal with this? And it just didn't pass the smell test for me. And so
Did you
I didn't get to see him on a lot of things, but the few things I did, I was like, what am I missing here? Something.
did you see
Mhm.
the Atwood interview with Jag and Courtney?
I didn't see the entire thing, but yes, I did. I definitely saw the meaty part of it. Yes, I did.
Did you see him where his eyes were looking?
It looked like he was looking down to me, and I felt like he looked to the side a lot.
He kept looking up. He kept looking behind him. There was no the TV was behind
Was
him.
behind him, yeah.
So what was he looking at?
Probably somebody was in the room with him. Usually when you find that type of energy, somebody's in the room off camera trying to direct the person. But
Exactly.
here's the thing about direction. It's like if you're trying to direct a child in a movie, that child already has to have acting chops for them to take direction.
100%.
I don't think this was well planned out. You know, I made a I made a statement the other day on my channel, and I said there was something we used to do when we were younger. Before you go to the club, you practice your dances in the mirror so you can make sure, okay, I'm doing this right, I'm doing this right. And I'm like, whatever happened to practicing your dance at the house before you went to the club? It's like he didn't practice. No one prepped him. He just jumped in and was not qualified for the job.
So do you have an opinion on how he got the so-called evidence?
I have some theories. I've heard a couple of things, and I do have some theories. I don't know that I'm comfortable making those theories public now.
I don't want. I
definitely
to
have some theories. One person. Well, two people in particular. The celebrity person I'm not sure of, but to my understanding, the other person that was a part of handing him the things was a celebrity, and that person I'm certain of.
Right. Okay. But why him? If he didn't know anything about anything.
And so if it's the person that I theorize that gave it to him, the reason would be because he was far enough outside to not be on the inside and far enough inside to not be, you know what I'm saying, to be a little out of the industry. You get what I'm saying?
Because like, again, if you look him up
on the periphery.
On the periphery. Yeah. If you look him up, he's only got credits on 2 bands.
Okay. Which ones?
Let me look quickly to.
It's like that whole a D-list actor in a room full of A-list actors. Like, people are going to be like, excuse me, sir, can I have a drink? They're not going to probably realize he's an actor because they feel like he's out of their echelon. And so, you know, there's that caste system or that hierarchy in all things. And I feel like while he was in the industry and in the periphery of the industry, he wasn't like he wasn't a household name, at least not for the world at large. And so whoever this person was also the person I theorized was also in the music industry behind the scenes. But this person was of a higher ranking. I do know that, but I theorize. And that person, the reason I know this is because, or the reason I suspect it's this person is because, have you ever heard of Alan Watts? This person was on, there's Alan Watts used to do this thing called, I believe it was Tapping the Powers Within. And this person, I theorize, was on that show before. And I'm almost certain of who I think it is. But that person is no longer here. So, unfortunately. And so I suspect that person thought that their life or their safety was in jeopardy, and they gave it to him because they felt like he was trustworthy and that no one would suspect him. Oftentimes people pass things off to someone that they think no one will suspect for a reason, because they think no one will suspect them and they think that person is safe. While Murphy's looking that stuff up, I will look in the chat. I love this, guys. I love talking to you guys. Thank you for your prayers, Joy to the World, for the victims. We appreciate that. Oh, absolutely. We do have underground cities.
Sorry, I got a bit messed up then.
Oh, that's quite all right. No rush. Take your time.
With apps and stuff. A band called Artifacts.
Artifacts. I think that was a West Coast band, if I'm not mistaken. Where did they say they were rooted? In California?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he produced their album, apparently,
Okay.
and he released it 3 times.
Released it 3 times.
Yep. And the other one was
remix album.
The only other band was called The Final or something.
The Final. That doesn't sound familiar to me. Let me tell you something. When I go on a deep dive, I go on a deep dive. I am about to go deep and search for some things. And I'm going to search for his connection to the person that I suspect gave him the stuff. And if I see connective things that come up, then I'm going to know that.
I'll say it so that you don't have to. It's Quincy Jones, wasn't it?
No, I don't think it was Quincy Jones. Although he was, there's been talk for a long time that he was a gatekeeper. And there are people in the industry, and rest in peace to Quincy Jones. We don't mean any disrespect, but it is absolutely what it is. There has been speculation for a long time that he was an industry gatekeeper, like it was like you had to kiss the ring kind of thing. And that's widely known. And I suspect, listen, some people, you know how when your mom calls your name a certain way and you feel like you're in trouble, so you're like, you tell your sister, come with me. Mommy's calling me, because you don't want to go by yourself and confront whatever it is. It was like you could not get anywhere without coming and kissing the ring to Quincy Jones. And it's unfortunate because I feel like there were some very talented young people that were under the auspices of Quincy Jones who never saw their careers fully actualized for whatever reason. Number one being Tevin Campbell, a young prodigy that could sing like gold. By the grace of God, he's still with us. But he experienced a lot of success in his youth. And just when he was really growing into who he should be, because he's a phenomenal singer, gone. They said he ended up, allegedly, he ended up, prostituting himself on Hollywood Boulevard. And it's so sad. It's so sad. And there's some deeper speculations where that comes from too. So I don't want to,
a couple more things, if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely.
So I don't believe all of the stuff about, I'm not going to swear. Normally I'd swear a lot, but I'll try not to because you're on YouTube. I don't believe all the stuff about Michael Jackson, and obviously Quincy Jones was very involved.
Yeah,
with
I don't either.
I think that he was targeted for some other reason.
Of course, his catalog. He had the largest catalog in the history of music. He owned the Beatles. He owned Elevator Music. He owned every major star. He owned a part of their catalog. And he acquired it silently from under Sony's nose, and they had no idea. And they were devastated when they found out.
Okay. What's your opinions on Liam Payne from One Direction?
Well, it came out today that 3 people were arrested. Yeah. That his quote unquote friend left him even though he knew he was in distress and had been passing himself off as his manager. Also, they said one of the gentlemen from the hotel, I think he was maybe a maintenance guy or something at the hotel. And then another guy was a rugs dealer. And they said between the 3 of them, they believe they contributed to his passing. I also heard, I didn't go in depth because I was on Sean Atwood earlier, and then I kind of was dealing with my daughter before I got on.
I was watching you.
Oh, thank you. But I did hear that they said he tripped or he fainted. He tripped and fainted. And that was how he made it over. I have to do more research. I have to do more in-depth research. What do you think? Do you know anything more about it?
I don't know anything more about it, but it just strikes me as very odd that this has happened at this time.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially when
coincidental.
there's loads of stuff coming out about a supposed person that's part of the cult, let's say, called SC.
Mm-hmm.
So I just find it all very odd.
Yeah.
And
I'm
actually from the same town that Zayn from One
Oh
Direction.
wow. Okay.
And
Zayn Malik, right?
I went to the same school as him, so
Oh wow.
I know a little bit. But do you know
the
what I mean?
saddest part is that he was so young, like 31. You haven't even begun to really. You just really get into the meat of it, but what it illustrates to me is the saddest thing that it illustrates is that no matter what society says you should have, people that think money is the answer to all their woes is sadly mistaken, because guess what? From what I understand, he passed away with a sizable estate, but he didn't even get to enjoy it or actualize it because all these other underlying things that go with having and acquiring the money and the profession. Everybody's not cut out for that stuff. And sometimes it's too hard to walk away. People become so enamored by the position and the status that the notion of not being famous, fame is a drug also. And a lot of people, once they get a taste of that fame, it's addicting. And it's unfortunate because they did say some of those things, like he was in the lobby saying, yeah, I was in a boy band, or yeah, I'm a part of a boy band. And
have you watched the interview that he did on who is it, Stephen Bartlett?
I didn't. Can I find it on YouTube? I need to look on YouTube and see it.
Diary of a CEO, is it called?
Diary of a CEO. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, Stephen Bartlett. If you look that up and just look how he's talking about his journey, basically. Okay. I don't want to say channel because I don't want to get marked or anything.
I know what you mean. But it's so sad. 31 is so. He was 31, correct?
Yeah.
31 is so young.
Yeah, and I'm 41. So I was at his school 10 years above him.
Okay.
So
wow. That's so sad. I'm going to definitely look it up, though. Thank you so much for that information. Because I felt instantly something wasn't right with it.
Yeah. I've forgotten what my last question was. Sorry, I've got ideas.
No, it's okay. Take your time and think about it.
I always forget. Have you got anybody else lined up, or can I keep talking?
I have some things coming up, some surprises for the channel. So hopefully I'm panning it out this week. So hopefully, once I figure out that our schedules collide, we will have some lovely guests on the show. I cannot wait. I'm excited. I'm so excited.
You're absolutely inspirational, and I just want to say, and as I said to you in Discord,
super kind. You were so super kind in Discord. I promise you. I was like,
yeah, as I said to you, I'm agnostic and I have no religion whatsoever, but just listening to you speak is just an absolute joy.
Thank you so much. When I tell you I was so humbled when I read that, I was like, wow. I appreciate it. I'm humbled. I truly do appreciate it. It's really, really, it warms and fills my heart. I don't even know a better way to explain it. And very rarely am I at a loss for words. But I was so at a loss for words. I was like, wow, this is dope.
What do you think about Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis?
I think there's some now. Why Mila Kunis? I don't really
allegedly
get an energy. I don't really get an energy from her about anything nefarious. I could be wrong. What I do get an energy for is Ashton Kutcher. There is some, as we say, some there, and he is going to have to account. He is going to have to account for his allegiances and whatever he's done. But like they said, they got those videotapes. It's going to come out. It is going. We've heard all our lives what's done in the dark will come to light.
Yeah. I just love your sayings. I don't
Thank
care
you.
if they're from the Bible or not.
Thank you. What's done in the dark will come to light. And so my mother would always say, if you don't want it to come out, don't do it. Because there will always, it's like water. You can put water in a jar. You can put water in a bag. You can put water in all measure of, receptacles. But one thing I know about water, when it starts to flow freely, you can't catch it. It's going to find every nook and cranny and every little space, and it's going to find its way to go through. That's what the truth is like. Once that receptacle breaks, that truth is going to flow so freely, you ain't going to be able to stop it. It's like rushing waters. And people, I don't know why they don't get that. There's no such thing as a true secret. If there was such a thing as a secret,
yeah,
we wouldn't know half the stuff we know in life.
Well, that's what I was just about to say to you is what I said earlier on in Discord, is that if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
There you go. Listen, when I tell you I live by that, especially with these senior moments coming on me sometimes I'm like, oh, hold on a second. It's going to pop in a second. I don't have time to be trying to remember stories. It's just much easier for me to just tell the truth. Some people, the truth bothers them, but I'm so comfortable with it. I am super comfortable.
You're absolutely brilliant at it as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, I can't wait to tell my mother.
Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. It wasn't an easy walk, but it's definitely a redeeming walk. Absolutely redeeming. I love it.
What do you think? So, your redemption. What do you think your redemption is?
I think my redemption is that I have lived to see. First of all, God allowed me to suffer gladly, but be here to raise my children. The worst. Like I say, I don't fear anything, but if I were to fear something, it was the thought of me being a dusty picture on a shelf and my kids having to be with somebody else and saying, man, I wish my mother was here. Oh, the thought of that is, I don't even want to, it just made my stomach queasy. Like, I don't want to think of that. No, you're fine. I don't have a problem talking about anything. My redemption is that I was able to stay here in spite of everything I had to undergo. I was able to stay here and see my children live their lives. I'm a grandmother now. I love it. And my granddaughter said to me one day, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I keep interrupting you because there's...
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Does your redemption involve getting redemption for what happened to you?
Absolutely. That justice is my true redemption.
Exactly. That's what I was
true
trying
redemption. It's all about the justice. And that's why I do what I do. Like what I said on the Atwood show about all of the things that J-Lo has done, there's a method to my madness. I'm not just highlighting the fact that she stole women's songs and their intellectual property. What this shows is a pattern of lying. It shows that she has a pattern of being deceptive. And so when you come out and you start to, disavow what I said and proclaim, oh, this is not true, then you need to answer to all those names of those women that I called, where they can prove that they sang those songs. Listen, simple thing. You sing the song, J-Lo, and then each one of them sing the song that you claimed. And let's see who really sang it. I guarantee you, she is no match for those women. None. She cannot sing.
Do you know who sang "Waiting for Tonight," which is the one that she sang?
That one I don't know, but I know if you Google it, you'll probably find it because the names of the women. I saw them originally on a YouTube video. However, I have been seeing this for a few years now. This underlying theme that J-Lo was not singing. If you Google, I did a rudimentary Google, and I promise you, it brought up a whole lot of different songs. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull it up.
It was just that one song. I couldn't see that it wasn't her singing.
Let's see.
because that's the one. That's the one that she won the award for, and that was the night of the shoot.
Waiting for Tonight.
I don't know if it was the same shooting that happened to you.
It may have been. Let's see.
She won at the she won an award for the best music video at the VMAs. And then there was some kind of shooting, but I don't know if that.
Oh, that might have been mine then. That might have been mine. Because if she was involved in 2 shootings, I'd say, the Karma Police were after her. Let's see. I'm not sure. Waiting for Tonight. Looking to see. But just from this Google search I did, the song "I'm Real," Ashanti. Jenny from the Block, Natasha Ramos. Let's see. There's a whole list of songs they said.
Do you think
Glad, The One, Loving You, then Yana Crawley, Get Right. I'm not even familiar with that song. Shawnette Harrell and Jennifer Carr, If You Had My Love. Everybody knows that song.
Yep.
Yeah, she got some explaining to do. And what really, like I said, all the Ashanti songs I had heard I'm a singer, so vocalists know. I know.
Yes.
Yeah, I can tell by the way someone forms their lips when they're singing if they're truly a singer. And I've seen her sing too many times. I was like, yeah, that's a lip sync if I ever seen one. Lip sync. And it turns out it was. These women all, and here's the deal. She brought it on herself. Had she not created that movie and that, whatever the other thing was, and shoved it in everybody's face, and it did such an abysmal job with, on top of all of this coming out, she set the stage for people to rip the Band-Aid off and say, look, she didn't even sing that song. That's my song. I sang that song, and it was, the avalanche started after that. It's not unlike what he's getting. Same thing. The avalanche started. All it is different materials. He's doing flesh. She's doing bringing guns and taking people's intellectual property and calling it her own.
What do you? Right. If you've got nobody else waiting to come on,
if anybody else wants to come on, you guys come on up. Matter of fact, I may have to post the chat again. The link in the chat. I'm sorry.
I was just asking if you've got nobody else wanting to come on, then I'll keep asking questions.
Sure, you can. Absolutely. If anybody wants to hop on, you guys are welcome to. But go ahead. Keep asking me, Murphy.
So, well, you wouldn't know that.
What's that?
I was going to say about it's convenient that Ben Affleck has left J-Lo. Right at this point,
I try not to follow them because that's just not my cup of tea. But from what I understand, from all things look like that, and the theory is, according to Suge Knight, I'm sure you're familiar with that name.
Yep.
Suge Knight said on an interview that the feds, he theorizes that the feds showed him video footage that they had of J-Lo, and it was grand opening, grand closing.
Really?
And, yeah.
Wow.
He was out of there in no time. And right before, she had just proclaimed that they were so in love, and then all of a sudden it's over. And so there's definitely something that we don't know about what transpired, but whatever it was turned him off very quickly. I would only assume that a man that chooses a woman as his wife doesn't want to see his wife in certain, you're a man. I don't have to tell you that.
Of course.
You don't want to see. We all know that our intimate partners have had a past. I think an urgent is a very rare thing in these streets, but we all know that our intimate partners have had a past, but we don't want to have to think about that. And we don't want to have it rubbed in our face. And I think they knew what was ahead of him may have been too much for him to endure. And so they was like, let me give him a way to bow out gracefully now. Because when the avalanche comes, clearly it was not going to be a comfortable one. And I truly believe that was the reason why if what Suge Knight says is correct, that's why they informed him, because they knew that avalanche was going to bring the house down.
And did you ever meet Tupac or Biggie?
So Biggie I met, yes, but not Tupac. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, where Biggie's from.
Yeah.
Now,
cool.
Biggie and Tupac are both Geminis, just like me. So we have that Gemini thing in common. But yes, I used to take my sister to be in music videos. Actually, shout out to DJ Clark Kent, who just passed away recently. I grew up around the corner from him. We grew up. He lived on Union Street. I lived on President Street. It was a block away from each other.
I saw Clark Kent when I was in New York.
Yep. I grew up with him. I know his entire family. And back in the days when Clark Kent, he did a few songs for Junior Mafia. When they were filming the video for Get Money, he told me, come down, bring my sister. I brought my sister. My sister was featured in the video. She was the female lead for one of the Junior Mafia members, Chico Del Vecchio. She was sitting at the bar. She's been in quite a few music videos. I mean, I took her everywhere. She's younger than me, but I would take her everywhere. And, and I was in the crowd scene. I mean, you can't see me because I kind of stayed to the corner, but I appreciated, like I said, I'm a vocalist. I was in that whole arena of, anticipating getting a record deal. I thank God. I thank my lucky stars that I did not. I would never, and God knew this is not the scene for you. I'm not going to let it happen. And trust me, I've had ample times to be in the midst and in the muck and the mire of everything industry, music related. I used to go to music. They used to have these things, music conventions here in America, like Jack the Rapper and Impact Music Convention and all these different music conventions. And they would converge on Miami or the South, Atlanta, stuff like that. And I used to go to the music convention. There was one music convention in particular, Impact Music Convention. Me, Clark Kent, the guy who was managing me, his name was Al, and another guy who's in the industry still, Kenny Burns. We all went to the music convention together. And baby, a time was had. The 90s, those were the days. Whoo, baby, when I tell you, those were the days. We had a blast. But those are some of the, outside of just growing up with him, those are some of the very fond memories I've had with him. So, he is definitely going to be missed. Shout out to his wife, Keisha, and their children. And I pray that God is, enveloping her with the memories so that they can envelop her like a warm hug in her time of grief and sorrow, and for her and the children, because that can't be easy. They've been together for a long time. And I mean, he DJ'd at my sister's wedding. Like, our families are close. So, it's just a really sad passing and stuff like that. And I was going to do a show, and I think I'll still do a show dedicated to him. I didn't want to, it was just so much going on when it happened.
I think you should.
Yeah, I think I will. Because, a lot of my friends I grew up with, I would love for them to come up and talk, and we just reminisce. The funny thing is, like I said, they lived on Union Street and I lived on President, but I only hung out with Union Street people. And the President Street people used to get mad at me, like, you're a traitor. What are you doing on Union Street? I'm like, hey,
how dare you?
That's my crew. And we had a blast. I wowould sit outside. I've always been a singer. I would sit outside in front of one of my friends' building, and her mother, we would be out there like 3 a.m. They would be picking songs like, okay, sing this song, sing that song. And her mother would come to the window by the fire escape with a pot of water, and she would be like, take your behind back around President Street. And she would throw a pot of water. She's like, I'm sick of these songs. And we would laugh and run away from the water. And a time was had. I really have had quite the life, and I'm so eternally grateful for all.
I've changed my mind about you. I don't like you anymore because you only hung out on your street.
Yeah, I loved Union Street. I loved it. The President Street people used to be like, what's so good about them? What you over there for? I'm like, listen, you guys, not my scene. I just live over here. I'm hanging
Here
out over there.
in the UK, we play it on the street we live on. We play a game called Kirby, where you throw a
Kirby?
ball at
Oh,
a
listen.
ball at the curb.
Oh, listen, I was right. Then I must have been Kirby myself because, baby, I was around that corner. My mother would be looking for me. And the irony was, if I sat on the side of the street that Clark Kent's family lived was the further side from my backyard. Across the street, facing his house, was closer to my backyard. And some of my friends lived on that side. So if I really wanted to get away, I could just go into Tisha's house and jump the back fence and be back in my block, without my mother knowing. But those were the good old days. I miss those things. I definitely do.
I'm sure that you do, and it's absolutely horrendous what's happened.
Yeah,
but
the world has changed.
Yeah, well, massively, especially in the last probably 6 months, 9 months.
Yeah,
and it's absolutely.
Especially with all the weather conditions.
I don't know. Do you see it as just destructing something to rebuild something else, or?
So I do. I think it is a multitude of things. I think it is the breaking of strongholds, negative strongholds, over the earth. So many negative strongholds had a grasp on society, and I think those are being broken away. But at the same time, I do feel like the earth is speaking to us and telling us that if we don't take heed, we've heard of all of those old biblical stories or historical stories where, there was like basically a master reset. It feels like we're at the precipice of that if we don't take heed.
But I don't see it as that. What I'm talking about is I think that they're trying to bring down people so that they can replace them to carry on the same thing.
I believe that, and those are strongholds too, because sometimes it's like a changing of the guard. So
yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's a changing of the guard, and I feel like, but remember, shout out to Suzanne for being a new member. I'm sorry, Suzanne. I apologize for not shouting you out. And those are strongholds as well. We have to always be mindful of it. It's so multi-dimensional. Like there'll be strongholds for people, moving them out of position and moving other people in. I think that there is a 30-year cyclical thing. If you think about it, he has reigned supreme for generally about 30 years. I would say she's probably almost near that mark. And when that 30-year cycle comes, it's a wash away, rinse and repeat, and somebody else is in position. So the question we should be focused on is who's next. Exactly. And not focused on, but we should keep our eyes on that prize. But who's next up and what is their agenda? And also, we really need to focus less on celebrity. Like it's okay to have that segment of society, celebrities and people that entertain us and things of that nature. But I truly believe God wants us to get back to what's truly important: our family, the earth, our life, detached from this obsession with social media. And, we're losing our kids. Like kids used to play outside. Yep. These kids don't go outside anywhere, but now they're playing with the world. I would much rather my kids play in front of my house or in my backyard and just be outside exercising, as opposed to playing with strangers all over the world on the internet that I don't have a clue that they're talking to. I think that's worse, because these people are telling kids to do crazy things, getting in their ear, getting our kids to behave in certain ways. Recently, I just heard about a young man who unalived himself because somebody he met online, or I think they were saying the AI, some kind of partner AI thing, was encouraging him to do crazy things and send pictures, and it was horrific. I don't even know the full
It's
meat of the story, but it's so bizarre and
yeah. I've got
terrible.
three kids myself, so I know
So
exactly
you
what
know
you're
it.
talking about. Have you ever met Kim Porter?
I never met Kim.
You
I've
didn't
never met her.
or
No,
Albie
seen
Shaw?
her. I've seen her. I've seen her. I've seen him out because, like I said, I went to a lot of events, a lot of industry events. So I've been in the same room with them. I've seen them, but to personally like converse or to just interact with them, no,
Oh, right.
I did not.
Okay, so you don't know anything about the story.
No, well, I know all about them. I know that they were married. I know, that that's who she met first. I definitely know about them. But one of my cousin is a producer, and he used to produce for Christopher Williams, which is Albie Shaw's cousin, another singer. But my personal interactions, but I'm very well aware of who they are and their trajectory in the world and things like that. I mean, of course, because we witnessed it vicariously through their living, but plus I was from New York, so these are people that it was nothing to end up in the same room with them.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I never went to no freak off. Not me. That's
Yeah.
not my type of scene.
Yes.
But bars and we have a place called Cafeteria and just all of there was a club that we used to go to all the time in the early days. It was a hosted event, Maria Davis Mad Wednesdays. You've probably heard of Maria Davis if you're familiar with like a Jay-Z album.
Yes.
You'll hear a vignette where she's talking, and we're at Maria Davis Mad Wednesdays. That was every Wednesday at the Park Avenue Country Club. And we would have a baby. When I tell you the 90s, a time was had. It was really, really a great time. It was just fun because it was the burgeoning of this whole, what we know now as the hip hop industry and what we thought was the true essence of the industry. Not this behind the scenes stuff, but what we saw as on Front Street, the actual growing of music labels and the emergence of up and coming artists that had a vision and a dream. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was beautiful.
Absolutely. What's your thoughts on the triangle, like that everybody keeps throwing up?
What's the triangle? That child. Those symbolisms. I don't play that game. Those are that's all of that is symbolism. I don't mess with any of that.
No, I'm not saying about you. I'm saying
what. No, I know you're not accusing me. I'm saying I see them all throwing that up. People are gonna have to listen. The Bible says there are signs and wonders. I don't mess with it.
If you Google now, whilst we're on chat, Google Beyonce triangle.
Oh, I know the rock triangle that they do. Or are you saying the hand signal triangle, or is there some new triangle?
There's the hand signal triangle.
Yeah, I don't do any of those.
Then there's her on tour with a massive white triangle behind her.
Oh, well, you know what that triangle is used for. That triangle is in all those things. That symbolism has been in. I would see that in old music videos in the 90s. Whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, they're a part of that club. They're a part of that club because it's like the preeminent symbol that they are a part of that.
So, did you see the part of the interview on the Atwood channel where? Did you see the part of the interview on the Atwood channel with Courtney where he threw his triangle up?
Did he?
Oh, he did it 3 times.
Did he? that came out too quick.
3 times.
I didn't see it.
3 times he threw it up, and Ron brought him up on it.
Yeah,
and he said it was because he's got osteoporosis or something.
What? Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Osteoporosis. He should try some tiger balm.
Oh no, sorry. I think he said. I think I'm getting it wrong. I think he said arthritis. He said
arthritis. I do that. Well, either way, he should tie some. You guys know what tiger balm is, right?
Yep.
He needs some tiger balm. Certainly not throwing up those signs on the internet. He is trying. That means solidarity Whenever they do
I'm
those,
going to send you all of these things. I've got your email address now.
send it to me. I need them. I definitely need them. That is.
I'm going to be following your channel, so I'll be
Thank you
here all
so
the time.
much. I appreciate you, Murphy. It was a blast. You know, you can come here anytime with me. You're a part of the Nerd Herd.
I am a nerd anyway, so it's fine.
Isn't it just delightful? I love being a nerd. Absolutely love it. I love it. Come on, guys. Who else wants to come back up? We're almost we making some waves. Anybody have anything on their chest? Anything they want to get off their chest? Anything they want to share with the class? Come on, guys.
What's your thoughts on Ellen?
You know, I always felt like, so in the very early days, when she was kind of like a comedian and, you know, her hair was a little fuzzier, and back when she had this little show, and I remember there was a thing where she was trying to tell, I guess the character was trying to tell her mother that she was LGBT, and she kept saying, like, trying to make these hints or whatever. And then somebody on the show said, like, oh, I thought you were trying to tell me you were Lebanese. And there was this big, back in those days, I found her to be funny. I thought it was different and, you know, inclusive and what people would need at the time. But afterwards, I started hearing all these comments that she was incredibly mean to her staff, and she had a rule where people couldn't look at her and all kinds of foolishness. And I was like, what? You can't look at her? Nobody can tell me what to do with my eyes. You can't tell me I can't look at you. And so I thought it was wacky. And then all these things started to unfold, and oh Lord, I don't like it. I don't care for it. I really don't. So
do you think she's part of it?
Oh, absolutely. And I think we have things that will be unfolded in regards to Twitch, her dancer, or the DJ.
Yeah.
I think things will come up with that, because that never sat well with me. Not the least of which is I had seen a video where he was at the hotel, but then it disappeared off the internet. He was at the hotel, and then somebody came to visit him at the room. I remember seeing that. And then all of a sudden he was, maybe a day later, they were like, he's unalived. I saw that online.
Yeah. First off, I believe that he was only put on the show so that they had a black person on the show.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there was something nefarious. Hold on, let me grab my charger. 1 second. I see you, Lakeisha. Murphy, I appreciate you, my brother. Lakeisha's up here. I'm going to talk to her real quick. You are always welcome here. You can come back and chat with me anytime.
Thank you.
You are absolutely welcome.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Hey, Lakeisha, how are you?
I'm so blessed. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored, my dear.
It's been
Best day of my life.
like trying to crack a national code, trying to get into my StreamYard. I said,
really?
what is going on?
Oh,
I've had no problem trying to get into StreamYard, and for some reason, I just could. I mean, I was trying on my iPad. I'm on my iPhone, and I was like, what? I had to go into my old email and reset my Facebook password just to get in, because I was like, now the devil is a lie.
Listen,
any other time I could use this, and now all of a sudden when I'm trying to use it for something good, it's not, I mean, not that I wasn't using it for something good before, but I'm just saying, you know, when you're trying to do something,
That's right.
and it seems like something is just trying to stop you, you're more determined than ever to just say, I'm
You know
going to
what
put
that was?
it through this.
You know what that was, right?
That was the enemy.
No. We got to stop giving the enemy so much power. That was God telling you anything worth having is worth fighting for. Let me see
Well,
how
that's true.
much you willing to go hard to get up in this studio. Just reminding you of your perseverance. That's it. And look at you.
Well, if I'm nothing else, I am resilient and tenacious.
Well, there
I
you
know
go.
that to be true by the grace of God.
Hey, by the grace of God, there you go.
It's so funny, you know, I have been saying for years there's always 6 degrees of separation, you know. And just by you telling your story and things like that, you know, I was unfortunately harmed by someone that who, when we met face to face, kept bragging that they knew the person that we shall not name.
Wow.
Like, oh, I used to hang with him. I used to hang with him. And it's been a blessing and a curse, I would say, but I'm in industry because I have been professionally trained in fashion design.
Wonderful.
And so like, it's almost so eerie how things are just, it's like a ball, you know, that you just unwind like a yarn ball or a snowball that takes effect. And so to be a part of the nerd herd is just truly a blessing to me, because it's just like,
thank you for saying that.
He's vindicating me more and more when I'm in an isolated area in my life. And just like, I believe it was Suzanne, and she was talking about like her having the church hurt and things like that. And I was like, oh my God, that's when I really started to try to get on, because I was like, oh my God, like I really resonated with what she was saying. Like, I was in the church for over almost 20 years. And I went, when I got back into the country from being stalked by that person that I was talking about, because I had fled to Jamaica. First I went to Grenada, and then I went and spent 5 to 6 months in Jamaica just to get away and regroup. And I went to my church because before I had left, my pastor was like, oh, this man put a demon seed in you. And so I said, I felt it, you know, but I also knew by me being touched at a young age that was a seed and a demon that had been hunting me and planted in me or assigned to me since I was young, probably before I was even born, you know, because we know sometimes when the Lord knows, the devil also knows, you know.
Absolutely.
So I went back to the church to get this deliverance. And the pastor wife was like, well, what are you here for? And so I'm telling her what I need the deliverance for. And she's like, no, that's not it. So all the way to the point where she basically said I was disobedient to the Lord. And I was like, what is this? This is not what I came here for. This is not what I'm asking for deliverance for. And so I was it left me wanting to unalive myself. But the Lord said, no. He said, I want you to sit here in this church and watch what I do. And when I tell you, 2 people got truly delivered that day, and the pastor actually preached what I went in that office to get delivered from. And I said, wait, I said, this is a circus.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what the Holy Spirit dropped in my chest right now for you. His wife doing that to you was her way of saying, I feel like my husband may be attracted to you, so I'm going to...
Listen, I was about to tell you that right
I'm going to block the access from my husband. And it tells me that she is not the woman of God she claims to be, because you are not going to leave one of your flock. There is a scripture in the Bible about the sheep, one sheep wandering off. And the question is, do you leave the one sheep so the 99 can stay? No, you get your sheep. You get that one sheep. You don't leave anybody in the trenches. They had a fiduciary responsibility as your shepherd to make sure that deliverance was yours. And the fact that a first lady would get in the midst, it means she is not secure with her own relationship, and she has mastered the mindset of what my husband is attracted to, and she was going to leave you stranded like a sheep in the wilderness because she felt like her husband would be attracted to you. Holy Spirit dropped that in my spirit right now.
Let me tell you the rest of the story so you can just be like, yes, Lord. Now I'm about to start speaking the little bit of patois that me know.
Speak it, speak it.
The man came, me was going to therapy, and me told my therapist, I said, me gonna record the session. The man said, oh yeah, when you came to the church, my brother and my sister-in-law brought you into the church to break up the soon-to-be nuptials between me and she.
See? What did I say? How could I know that?
I said, Lord, me been sitting in this church for 19 years, and me have been your spiritual whore, and me not know it. Because the only reason why me came back for that session is because he left me a message and said, oh, I need to speak to you, but I'm only going to speak to you face to face because I'm not going to be calling anyone anymore. You call me. I mean, this man will call me at just random times. And she would be like, she's going to get mad when you say that. Or da-da-da-da-da. And I would, like, when he would call me, it would always feel like I was in trouble. Like my stomach was cramping up, you know, like, you know how when your mother, like you said, when your mother called you and you tell your sister, come with me, mommy calling me, like it would always be like that. Like, what was he calling me for? You know, because I was just trying, even though I'm a grown adult, I have still had to mature because I was in Arrested Development. So pretty much I was still at, I would say, between 2 to 6 years old in certain areas of my life. So it would always be like, oh, what am I in trouble for? You know, if someone that I held in high esteem would call me, and I would feel like, oh, am I going to get in trouble? Or, you know, are they calling me, you know, because I did something, you know, even though I knew that I wasn't.
Yeah, a lot of people suffer from
good
that.
Girl.
A lot of people suffer from that. What that is you have been programmed that anyone with an authoritative voice or in a certain hierarchy of authority, you had to submit to them. That's what you were programmed to believe. And so when anybody that had that level of authority came your way and presented themselves in that manner to you, it submitted you under them. And you willfully allowed yourself to be submitted unto them. And trust me, that means more often than not, what that tells me is that, are you familiar with the term an empath?
Yes.
So you need to do some study. This is my homework for you. And you and I are going to revisit this. It is my sincere belief that you may be an empath, and that empaths, narcissists can smell an empath like cheap cologne. They know us in a crowd, and narcissists will chum up to an empath because their intent is to manipulate you, to gaslight you, to get their narcissistic supply. And they are looking for, and narcissists always look for someone that they can dump on. There is something called narcissistic supply. It's like a mental, I'm going to change the word because I don't know if it comports with YouTube guidelines. It's like a mental schmorgasm.
Yeah.
The only way that they can get it is if they put upon someone and they see your face like, oh, but what did I do? Like, if they see the displeasure in you or the discontent in your spirit, that's where they get narcissistic supply.
Yeah.
When you start pushing back and you don't give that to them, and you're unbothered and you don't react in that kind of way, they end up with narcissistic injury, and they can't take that. It is the understanding that they've lost the power over you. And so that is what you were under. When they rejected you, is because they couldn't find value anymore in trying to manipulate your presence. And so people, how servants or how servant leaders manipulate people is they make them give more tithes than, you understand? You're always having to give love offering, or whenever they need little things done, like our Ali Button, where we say in West Indies, they want to send you on their little escapades to go do this and go do that and go do. That's what they look for.
Right. I remember she had called me when I was in Jamaica, and I had a gentleman visitor. I was thinking about marrying this man because I was purchasing some land, going to purchase some land right next to his land, and he was single, I was single, and I was like, "Nah, make no sense for us to be two single people with all this land. You know, we can do things." But anyway, she has said, "You must not be telling these men who you are." I said, I'm an open book. I don't have a problem with telling, because I don't like, we were talking about Kim in her book and things that we feel is in the truth will set you free. Absolutely. If you're an open book, can't nobody spill your tea.
That's right.
Because you done spilled your own tea, so you ain't got nothing to be ashamed about, because if nobody know about it, God know about it.
That's right.
That's always my philosophy. So when she said that, you know, she was just like, "Oh, well, you know, if you wouldn't have been, you know, doing this, then this couldn't happen." Or if you, and I drew a line, and I was like, wait a minute. And in that moment when I was pushing back, I could see in my mind's eye, like, you know, like on the video games, like Street Fighter, you got that circle and it's like, finish him, you getting ready to go to duel. That's what I saw in my mind's eye between her and me. Because I could not figure out throughout the years why this woman would say certain things to me until I got back into the country and realized exactly what you said right before her husband admitted that stuff. And I said, "Oh my God."
Yep.
And I mean, it has just been like everything. And I have been saying all of this stuff the whole time I've been in that church. The whole time I was in that church, I've been saying these things to get
here's what it feels like also to me. The reason that she treated you and went out of her way to treat you in such a manner is because he's probably a narcissist to her and expresses desire or brings you up a lot. He probably uses you to gaslight her. And so she wants to stand as a buffer, like, "Oh no, sister, this one is mine." And it doesn't mean you're doing anything to interrupt that. Shout out to Natasha Fenton for becoming a member. It doesn't mean that you are doing anything to enhance his attention. It just means that he is probably utilizing you to gaslight her, and she is gaslighting you to keep you away because she fears that he has some obsession with you. And I
think that they're both narcissists, actually.
I'm certain they are.
He told me when he saw her, he said, "That's my wife." And her uncle told him, "You don't want her. She's crazy and she's mean." Her whole family is actually at that church to see how long she's gonna last in that marriage, because she's the crazy one, the mean one in the family that everybody looks up to. And that's the very thing that she said to me in that office. It wasn't even about me. It wasn't even about my deliverance. She was like, everybody wants this. She's holding up the mic. I'm like, girl, I'm trying to get delivered from something that's been on me since before I was born. There's been a generational curse in my family that I'm trying to break so I can get free and make sure that my sons or my, grandkids or
Mhm.
whomever don't have to go through this. I'm not thinking about you or your husband for that
But
matter. And
here's
so she
something.
said, my whole family is just sitting here waiting to see if I'm a crack up. And I was just like, this is a circus.
Well, let me tell you something about narcissistic people. A lot of people think narcissists are they think too highly of themselves and they're flamboyant and outwardly pompous. The real deal, Holyfield, about it is nothing is more insecure than a narcissist. They are
Right.
inherently insecure. And trust me, everybody is their ops. When there's a word called a Pyrrhic battle, a Pyrrhic victory. They're fighting Pyrrhic victories and you don't even know you're in a war. A Pyrrhic victory is if they have 300 on their side and you have 300 on your side and you guys go to war and they come back with 2 and you come back with 1 and they're like, we won, we're victorious. You only got 1 more than me, honey. We both lost.
Right.
A Pyrrhic battle is they're so petty that even with that one additional person, even though they've lost 298, they still see themselves as the victor instead of both people having lost. And that's an unfortunate thing. I'm so glad you got out of there. Now, my question for you is, do you feel like you ever received the deliverance that you were seeking?
What ended up happening was I started taking myself through deliverance.
There you go.
Because me being at that church, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened, but I learned a lot because I had started asking God even this year, like, okay, Lord, well, what was the point if all that happened? But He was like, I had to teach you.
That's right.
I had to teach you, and I had to strengthen you because whether I knew it or not, I had a lot of narcissistic people that I had been around. I had a lot of narcissistic people that I still will have to face in this life because we know there are narcissists. I think that demon spirit is just running rampant out here nowadays. And I think it always has been here, but we just didn't have a name for it. We didn't have a name for it just yet. I mean, in the biblical is Jezebel.
Here's the deal. We've actually had a name for it. Narcissus. A narcissist came from the Greek mythology of Narcissus.
Oh yeah, when
Narcissus
fell in love with his.
Fell in love with himself.
Yeah.
Kept looking at his reflection. Kept falling in love with his reflection, and where did it lead him? So narcissists are they have inherent low self-esteem. They only masking to act like they have high self-esteem.
Right.
What I want you to understand is just like I think one of the first things you said is you were alone, like you were set apart or you had to go away and be by yourself. Let me tell you something. The greatest indication, like you said, first of all, he who is set free by God is set free indeed.
Amen.
So you have deliverance, my sister. Deliverance is yours by virtue of the fact that you tried so hard and kept facing all of these pitfalls, not allowing you to get on, and you overcame them all and got on this channel to have your say. That right there is an indicator you have deliverance. Another thing that you need to focus on is whenever God isolates you, that means He is elevating you. In order for you to be elevated, God has to get you by yourself so that He mutes out every distraction and only His voice is the voice that you hear. By the grace of God, my sister, you delivered yourself. You know how powerful that is? Do you know some people never achieve that?
Yes.
So first of all, everybody give some love to Lakeisha right now in the chat. That's huge. I am so proud of you. Let's give us some claps. Because
glory be to God.
Glory to God be the glory, honey. That is an amazing feat. You have gained your ascension and your deliverance. Now, what you got to do is maintain it.
Yes.
Don't jump out of one frying pan and into another fire. Because what happens is there is a codependency that happens with empaths.
Right.
Empaths feel needed. We're always trying to fix somebody. And it's not so much as fix. What I've learned is that we want best for ourselves and for others.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to learn how to hone your skill. And I'm going to tell you one of the most valuable pieces of information this older woman taught me. Everybody ain't your assignment. Sometimes
Yeah,
you just got to focus on you.
that's where he has me right now. And I mean, even to the point where um I'm not around anyone, not even my sons, like no one. Like my son lives less than 5 minutes away from me. And my other son, I just moved from being close to him, but I mean, like he has me totally isolated, and it's
How's that
because
relationship going? I hear
huh?
something. I hear something. What's going on with you and your sons?
Every time, I was just getting ready to say that every time God gets ready to elevate me and I'm trying to take them on the ascension, they start, I don't know, like,
Mistake number one. When God is elevating you, let him do his work.
yeah,
He will make room for them to come afterwards. Because here's
right,
the deal. Are they adults?
yes,
Here's the deal. When God gives you a vision, he will make provision.
right,
It is like they say in an airplane. You have to put the life mask on you first before you
right,
help anybody else. Because if
right,
you put the mask on someone else, it could be someone you love. It could be your child.
yeah,
If you put the mask on someone else and then you don't have enough time to put your own mask on, well, you can't be a blessing for them anyway.
right,
You ain't got no air left.
yeah,
There's nothing wrong with wanting for your sons, but God called us to raise, first to bear fruit from our womb, to raise, to nurture, to guide, and to usher our children into adulthood. And then we are to step back. Our mothering never stops. We have to keep our hands on them as far as mothering, but as far as them being men, it is incumbent for them to find their way as men. You have to stay there as a support system. If they ever come back and say, look, my life is tough out there, blah, 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 hey, come on in. However, we have to take our hand off. We have to understand. It's like when people say, Jesus, take the wheel. I always tell them, what a presumptuous statement. You think Jesus, you have to tell him to take the wheel that he created and gave you?
right,
So sometimes we have to get out of our own way. God is telling you, let me do my thing, and then you will be able to bring them.
yeah,
But you can't save anybody if you don't have your mask on first.
yeah. And it always happens like that. I think that this time it just was like me saying, okay, Lord, I hear you now. Just
Mhm.
like you just said, I can't self-preserve if I'm not doing it and saying, okay, Lord, this is for me.
In God's
Because
order.
what he's always wanted for me is for me to be healed. I woke up this
Mhm.
morning and I was thinking about all of the children that I would have had by my second son's father. And I'm like, his father was a Harlem Globetrotter, which that's what my son is named after his grandfather, who
Mhm.
was a Harlem Globetrotter. And I said, I
Wonderful.
always tell my son, like, I could have had a whole basketball team messing
Don't
with
do
your
that.
father.
Don't do that. Mm-mm. There are some things as parents that we have to preserve exclusively and separate from our children. That is not their concern. You don't put that on them because it will give them survivor's guilt. They will take that as you're saying, uh, somewhat to some degree. Hey, you're not that special. I could have had 10 more. Mm-mm.
No.
Let it.
That
You
wasn't
don't
where I
mean
was
that.
coming from.
No, you don't mean that. I know you don't mean
Right.
that. What I'm saying is, children, I don't care if they're adults, because by virtue of the fact that we are older than them and
Yeah.
they were not there for the trials and tribulations, they don't
Yeah.
have a purview in retrospectively. They don't know
Right.
what we're talking about. All they can do is process that information in the here and now. And
Right.
hearing that in the here and now throws them up. You know what you're talking of. You
Yeah.
know the vein from which you speak, but he doesn't. They
Right.
were not here.
Right.
And what we do when we add those extra pieces of word into our diatribe with our adult children
Yeah.
is they start to look at us sideways.
Right.
And you don't ever want to have contribute to them stepping out of the realm of that overwhelming omnipresent respect for us. God is omnipresent, but as their mother, we want them to maintain a level of dignity, respect for us. And if we step out of that realm, we make it hard for them to see us that way and therefore see others, because now they will then prosecute and persecute the women or their intendeds because they have a judgment about us that they don't have all the information to make a concise understanding of. You understand?
Yes.
So be mindful of that. And then what I hear, and I'm telling you, like, when I say I'm an energy sensor, energy, what I hear is you have something unresolved with both of them right now.
Yeah.
You got to heal that. That's your duty. You have to heal that. And you got to do it. You got to do it from a true leader leads from behind.
Yeah. I'm right now, what I'm doing is just fasting and praying because one is, I think he's holding on to some things that until he's ready to talk about it, I can't rectify it.
No. So let me give you something. Allow me to offer you something, if I may. One of the most powerful communication comes in all forms. One of the highest degrees of communication is non-verbal communication.
Right.
The good old-fashioned writing a letter, I just provided that as a resource for somebody, and she was a little pushing back, like, and then she had to call me 2 days later and be like, Eb, I did what you said. I wrote the letter, and everything turned out great. Let me tell you the beauty of writing a letter. It allows you to get all your points across without humming and forgetting what it is that you need to say or what you wanted to say, because the other person is cutting in and telling you what they think. And when they hear something that doesn't resonate, they kick back. Write your son a letter, a love letter. Don't write a letter to the man that you're angry with that just happens to be your son.
Right.
A letter to your newborn baby that you looked at and held in your arms after you felt him bust through your birth canal.
Right.
Spread your pelvic bone and come to this earth, and you looked at him and all you saw was hopes, dreams, and aspirations, and hope sprang eternal. You just wanted so much for your baby. Write that letter. Think of each one of them individually and write that letter to them. Tell him how much you love him. Be willing to say, I've made mistakes. I'm not perfect. And you don't know my story and all that I've been through. But my only desire was for the best for you.
Right.
A man needs to hear that, especially from his mother.
Right.
A man needs to hear, you are a phenomenal man. I know that this world is not fair and we've all had some bumps in the road. But I know you can get back on the straight and narrow. I know you got it in you. I see the king in you. Tell your son he's a king, both of them individually. They need to hear that so that they can heal the hurt that's in them.
I will definitely, because I never feel comfortable when I don't have a connection with my children, like everything that I've gone through in this world, my desire and my love for my sons have always been very strong, where I wanted to, I've always been like, this is our family. This is our little family. Yes, we have outside family, but you got your inner circle brother. We are family,
And that's your inner circle family. That's what we call out, the inner circle and then the family at large. And don't beat yourself up either. Listen to me. You are not the sum total of your experiences. You did not cause whatever you endured. God didn't mean it to harm you. He meant it to sharpen you. You understand? You have a 100% success rate in everything you've been through. See, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Amen. And the only way he knows that you are qualified for his job is that you showed endurance through everything you've been through.
Yes.
You didn't quit. When it got rough, you didn't say, I can't be bothered with this. Even if you came close, you didn't. And so I need you, and this is what most women have a problem with. I need you to forgive yourself. disavow whatever has been done to you. Lay that at the altar and let God deal with that. But I need you to forgive yourself. You are carrying, I can feel the heaviness. It's in your throat chakra, it's in your chest. The heaviness of what you've been through, you still own it like it's your fault. It is not your fault, my dear. You are a child. You don't
Yeah.
bear any responsibility in what some savage did to you. You hear me?
Yes.
And I'm not just speaking to the grown Lakeisha, I'm speaking to the 8-year-old Lakeisha.
Yeah.
I need you to make amends with what your inner child went through. I need you to love her and I need you to write her a letter.
I
I need
will.
you to write her a letter and tell her all the things that she is, how great she is, how she's tough, how she just needs to continue to stick it through because she's going to be an amazing woman in the future. And she's an amazing kid now. Talk to her.
I
You
will.
want to heal yourself? You've been, but to get that final piece of healing, write
Yeah.
that letter.
Okay.
Write that letter to yourself. I'm going to follow up with you. Me and you need to talk some more.
I will. And I also wanted to talk to you
Mhm.
too because for one, I definitely want to send you I have some gifts from you for you.
Okay.
Because I told you guys that I make jewelry and everything.
Okay.
So I have some gifts for you. But also I did 2 interviews earlier this year.
Okay.
And I need those transcribed so that I can turn them into a book.
Okay. And
So
you have a publishing imprint, Mrs. Wright Publishing. So I
yeah.
will help you on that
So I
journey.
have your locked have she's put the amazing your amazing mod.
Yeah,
She
for
put
sure.
your email in there.
Okay.
So I'll be
Absolutely.
emailing
I'm
those
looking for it. I'm
so that
looking
you
forward
can
to it.
give me the information where I can send those gifts to you, but also where we can correspond
And let
because
me tell you something. You are a powerful woman. I can feel a throbbing in my eye. You're a powerful woman, and you don't yet know how powerful you are. You don't know the gifts that God has work for you to do. Don't hold God up.
I'm not.
Get on top of your stuff immediately. I can feel a pulsating in my eye while I talk to you. I want you to look in the mirror. After you write that letter to little Lakeisha,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to read it to her in the mirror.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And look at yourself in the mirror. I don't want you looking away. I want you looking directly at yourself in the mirror and read that letter.
Okay.
And tell her you love her.
Okay.
You see, do you feel that? Do you
Yes.
feel that opening that's happening in your throat right now?
Yes.
Go ahead and breathe it out and go through it. It's okay. You're not alone. You got a whole family right here. You have a
God
whole family.
good. It's just every time that I come to one end of the valley, he opens up a whole new door with a whole new
Absolutely.
just great family tribe for me to say it's okay, daughter. I'm pushing you along. I'm pushing you
Mhm.
along and I just am so grateful to God every single day that I wake up.
Asheo.
I'm just grateful. Like it's the simple things for me. It's like just to be alive.
Mhm.
People ask me like, "How you doing today?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. You here?
Mhm.
I'm here. We're all here." Like that's blessed to me.
Mhm.
Like yes, I would love to be successful in other ways, but being spiritually successful it means more to me than anything on this earth.
And the rest of that is unfolding to you. Let me tell you something. Your voice sounds different now. You got to feel it. Your voice
I
sounds
feel
different.
it. I feel it.
You
I
have
definitely feel it.
who you are has yet to be unfolded. You have yet to see what God has in store for you. And when I tell you, When you free yourself of the burden of thinking and owning the responsibility of what you went through, it's not until you completely free yourself and forgive yourself. You don't owe a responsibility for what you went through. You're a child. Free yourself and forgive yourself. You are a beautiful queen, and the world is waiting for what God has in store for you. You have people to be a blessing to. Don't make them wait.
I won't. I'm continuing on this journey, and I'm excited every single day because every night that I go to sleep, when I wake up, I feel like something has dropped off of me. That's
Beautiful.
why I was fighting so hard to get on here. I kept saying, what is happening? Why I can't get on? Like, I've been using this platform for all this time, and now all of a sudden I can't get on to know nothing. I was like, okay, what's happening? But I said I'm gonna try it one more
I'm
time,
proud of
Lord.
you. I'm proud of your perseverance. You see what somebody said? There's more conviction in your voice. They look at the chat. Everybody can hear it. I hear it. I can feel it and hear it.
I can't even see the chat. Oh yes, I
Yeah,
see it. Yeah, thank you,
yes,
everyone.
absolutely. You're welcome, Lakeisha, and expressions of mishonesty. You are welcome as well. Listen. I like when I tell y'all, this is me 100%, and this is God. It's God. I don't
Thank you.
ever walk around and take ownership of it. I don't even think it's for me to take ownership of. I am his vessel.
Amen. Amen. Well, I'm not gonna hold up anyone's time.
Listen, stop that. That's what you have been doing in this world. There is space for you in this world. You hear me?
Yes.
There is space for you in this world. I don't need you to proclaim to anyone, well, I'm not going to hold up your time. No. All you have to say is, oh, wow, sis, it was such a pleasure talking to you. You don't have to make excuses for your presence, my dear. You belong here.
Thank you so much for acknowledging that. And
You're absolutely welcome. You belong here. You belong here. This is your family now.
I'm so grateful.
We're grateful for you. We're grateful to have you here. And you don't need to make any excuses to get yourself out of the way. All you got to do is say, and I want you to own that for everyone and every situation. Okay, all you got to do is be like, hey, it was a pleasure speaking with you, girl. I'll catch up with you later. Don't make an excuse to be here. You belong here.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
There you go.
And I look forward to
Hey,
with
look
you
how that
again.
came out. God bless you, sis.
God bless you.
Who
All
wants
right.
to come up? Anybody else wants to come up? Come on up. Step right up. Step right up. Oh, wait. I got to put this over here. Step right up, guys. That was beautiful. Everybody give her a hand. Y'all hear that breakthrough she had? My goodness. Oh, thank you. I thank you. Power to you all. Asheo. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. How long we been on here? Ooh, 2 hours and 47 minutes. We're going to take the next 13 minutes. Who wants to come up? Let's get 2 people up here. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Listen, I just want to stand in the gap. And I'm going to tell y'all something about standing in the gap. When you stand in the gap for someone against the works of the enemy, when somebody is going through a rough time and you become an intercessor and you stand in the gap, baby, that ain't for the weak at heart. When I tell you the enemy is going to come against you triple times, like, oh, you're going to take her burden? Well, then I'm going to really give you her burden. And so think it not robbery that I decide to stand in the gap for people. I understand the peril at which I face when I do this, but it's my gift comes from God. So I have no problem. I have no problem doing this. What's my favorite nerd thing? Books and pens. Girl, I love paper. I got notebooks everywhere. Listen, I always have a book around me. This one is called Promises from God for Women. And Sister Soldier, The Coldest Winter Ever. She's one of my favorite authors. When I tell you I love Sister Soldier, I originally bought my first copy of The Coldest Winter Ever. It had to be back in 90 something when it first came out. I think it was like 98, 97 or 98. Oh, amazing. I love you all. I love you all. Those of you who are going to sleep, have a great night. I appreciate you. Those of you who are still here, come on. Who wants to come up and get this last love? Come on. Step right up. Step right up. I just put the link in the chat. Or give me some words, guys. What you have to say. Give me some of your thoughts about today. Because here's the long and short of it. We all need that love. And I thank you guys so much. There is a price you have to pay to be here for everyone. Asheo. Asheo. And here's the deal. I love that book too. That's my book. I love me some Sister Soldier. She's amazing. I love you guys. You guys are dope. And I'm going to tell you something. Everybody needs love. Everybody needs to know their value. Everybody needs a kind word. All I ever ask anybody to do is pay it forward. Pay it forward. A kind word. You know, there was this thing that people used to say is like, I'll be like, oh, her shirt is cute. And I'll be like, excuse me, miss. And then somebody might say, don't tell her head might get big. So what? So what if her head gets big? If I see a woman, you know, do her baby hairs are extra smooth. And I always say, oh, sis, honey, you won the day, girl. I see them baby hairs. I see what you was doing, girl. I give that love. What is wrong with it? Especially when it catches your eye and it is cute and they do look great. Why not share the love? Why not share the love? What's wrong with it? It doesn't take anything. It doesn't cost anything to tell somebody something kind. There's no cost for it. Yep, that book is a rite of passage. Somebody's cousin always gave them that book. I love The Dopest Nerd. Look at me, The Dopest Nerd. I do love The Dopest Nerd. She is dope. But I love The Coldest Winter Ever. That Winter Santiago. Absolutely. Come on. Come on, Glorianne. 3D printing? Yes, I've looked into 3D printing. Oh, wow. I'd love to see some of your stuff, Cassius. I would absolutely love to see some of your stuff. Come on, Glorianne. We got 8 minutes to go. Come on, sis. Pop back on. Oh, I'm sorry. I had private chats. I didn't even see them. Let me see. Oh, you can jump back on too, Suzanne. Where was that? Oh, that was an hour ago. Man, is Suzanne still on? What did I just do? Oh, the comments. Here we go. Step right up. Step right up. I feel like a sideshow person. Step right. You guys are super dope when I tell you. When I tell you. And anyone who doesn't want to come up to the stage and talk, if you want to email me, go right ahead. You know, everything is The Dopest Nerd. So the channel is The Dopest Nerd. If anybody wants to support the show by sending a super chat, becoming a member, if anybody wants to support the channel with Cash App, everything is at The Dopest Nerd. And remember, THA, not THE. Hola.
Hola. I'm back again because the babies are sleeping. But you offered again, so I really
no,
I
you're
don't
welcome.
talk to too many people. I really don't.
Well,
But
I feel honored.
why wouldn't I take the opportunity to speak with you? You know, I know your words are always going to do something positive.
Absolutely.
I wanted to say something to you about giving compliments.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to share something with you.
Okay.
When I was younger, like a teen,
Mm-hmm.
I could never give somebody a compliment. I could say I was a very insecure teen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes sense why these things lead you to like abusive relationships.
Yep.
I had to do a lot of studying about it because I'm like, why? How do I end up in these situations? And I realized I'm not the only one. It's so common, and that's when I started learning about the empath thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this makes too much sense to dismiss it.
Yep.
And I could see it in everything now. So hearing you talk about it, it's like, wow, like I knew I wasn't making things up.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so proud of you. First and foremost, the fact that you were able to perceive that in your situation. A lot of people never perceive it. They don't realize it. A lot of people think that voice in their head is them talking.
Yes.
There is a voice in your head that is you talking because that's your spirit and your soul. However, the programming is subconscious programming. It's the stuff that your mother told you, your aunts told you, the lady around the corner, the lady in church, your father, this one, your brothers. That it's all that voice in your head playing over and over on a loop that people think is their own conscious thought.
We
But
all
it's
have
not.
that voice in different ways.
And here's the deal: we do have our own voice, but it's so overshadowed by that subconscious programming. We start to remember all the. It's like when a mother says, you remind me of your father and you make me sick. You ain't gonna be nothing just like your father. That sticks with a person.
Cursing, that's a curse.
Of course, these are word
Spell
curses.
craft.
And I tell people
Spelling
all the
with
time.
words.
Yep.
Yep.
I tell people, don't word curse me. Sometimes somebody can give you a compliment. And one time a guest gave me a compliment, but she had a typo. I said, you got to delete that. Not the whole thing, the word, because that's a word curse if you don't delete it. And I can't let it sit. And I love when people are open, when God connects to people and makes someone's heart receptive to information. And it's not just one way. You guys can give me advice too. I receive it. Everybody has a word. You can give me a word. I'm here to receive it.
In different ways, yes. We can all learn from each other. Absolutely. That's why I said when I was younger, I didn't have that outlook. Like now, I like what you said is like, why not let her get her head big? Why not want, like, don't you want somebody to feel good about themselves? It's such a great feeling to see somebody feel good. It doesn't have to do anything with you.
When they feel good, they want to pass it on.
Exactly. So I look at it like that's one way to help the world by one act of kindness because it passes on.
It's the true essence. Have you ever seen the movie Pay It Forward?
Yes. Is it with the teacher?
Pay It Forward. With Haley Joel Osment. Yeah.
Yes. I do remember that movie.
Pay It Forward was a great movie because it lets us see the connections. Like you said, the 6 degrees of separation, the strands. Yes. We're all connected.
Yes.
We need to understand our place in the universe and how we're connected to others. As long as we tighten those ropes, the world will come together.
Yes, exactly. I'm so happy to hear you say this.
Thank you.
You're so wise, I can hear it in your voice, like what you've been through. And it's not just like age, I realize has nothing to do with anything because there's people that are triple my age that I don't know, they're just so angry about something. And I'm just like, that's weird because by that age, you should already know it's not my fault,
Some people's spirit are broken. It's hard. You know how hard it is to heal a broken child? They may grow up biologically and physically, but inside they're a wounded child. Yes. And once that wounded child, that's why I told her to speak to the wounded child in her, because if you don't talk to that child, baby, she will hold you so tight that you can't break and grow up.
Everything will be scary. Everything is always going to be so scary.
I have a secret. So it's not even a secret. I don't think I've told it to the Nerd Herd family, replay gang, people that are alive. So a lot of people always say, you're so wise. You're so wise. And it's funny because one day my friend Chessa is on here too. And we knew each other for a while. And then I told her and she said, you know who you remind me of? You remind me of Ayanna Van Zant. Well, Ayanna Van Zant used to be my dance teacher. Her and my mother were very close. I grew up with her children. And she had a large impact on my life, a huge impact. There was a time, so I always loved playing in hair. and I would change my hairstyle and do other people's hair and all that. And so I was 9. I would do everybody's hair. My grandmother was a hairstylist. It was a natural proclivity, but sometimes parents don't understand, or there's a host of reasons. Sometimes they could be gaslighting you, whatever, control. But we had relaxers back then, and I needed a touch up. And I was like, why won't you let me get a touch up? And my mother was like, oh, you don't have time today. She always had an excuse. So I had all this new growth, but with my straight end. And then she was upset at me one day, and she said, didn't I tell you stop doing your hair? And she chopped all my hair off. I was devastated. You hear me? Devastated.
I can't even.
This was 1979. Trust me, that was not in style. And she just bought a whole bunch of those little headbands and said, put a bandeau headband on it. And she just brought me different colors. And when I tell you, I was mortified. And so I shrunk to the back of the dance class. I'm always the kid that sat in the front of the class. I was in the front of the class with dance class because I was one of the top dancers in the dance class. With all humility, I was. And Ayanna Van Zant said, when she was going through all these things she writes about, she was going through this. And she said, my family nickname was Nanny. And she's like, what is Nanny? Where you at? Where's Nanny? And they said, she's in the back. Like, what are you doing in the back? And I was back there. I was so angry. I started fighting people in school. I was just, anytime somebody said something about my hair, I was knuckling those boys and girls, everybody up. Mm-hmm. And so I had gotten in trouble, and, I just shrunk to the back. I lost my light, that zeal in me. And so help me God, she said to me, get up here and come to the front. And this is when she was going through the abuse and all those books she wrote. I mean, she literally had a black eye.
I never read her story, but I'm definitely going to look into her. If you could maybe add it in like the description, I would love to read about it.
Dopest Mod, add a couple of Ayanna Van Zant books in there. Let me tell you something. If you think I'm wise, she is the guru of wise. And a lot of people try to criticize her and talk a lot of junk. And I'm like, In 1979, when she told me, get up here to the front of the stage, she said, what is your problem? And I wouldn't answer. And she said, I'm speaking to you. What is your problem? And somebody said, she's mad because her mother cut her hair off. And she looked at me and said, girl, you are not your hair. You know how jealous of you these people are? Do you know how much they want to be you? And you in the back of the class? She said, get up here and dance. And can I tell you, she freed me.
Wow.
Freed me. And then we had some play cousins that lived a few doors down, and they were teenagers, and one of their friends braided hair with extensions, and she took me to get my hair braided. And so I had this long braids, and I was back, honey. I was back. Couldn't tell me nothing. Now, the crazy irony was, I then, once I got a little older, I loved the short haircut. When I was 14, I had the shaved asymmetrical bob from the side and all of this shaved around the temple all the way to the back with the asymmetrical bob. I love short hair. My hair was so long, I would cut my hair every time. So the thing that we think we're holding on to, sometimes it's our freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Can I ask you something? Do you think that it was the way that your mom reacted and did that to you that more so affected you? Because I and when I talk or like I think about wounds that my own parents have caused, I don't say it out of resentment. I say it out of like to acknowledge and release it.
That's right.
To forgive myself, because you said it yourself. Women have a hard time with self-forgiveness. And from 12 years old, my mother would tell me, oh, put something else on. You look too provocative, because I was thick.
That's a projection.
But at 12 years old, I was already thinking I'm doing something wrong by just being seen. Yep. You know? So,
and you're right. Here's where that comes from. When mothers say those things to their daughters, that's a projection somebody put on them. And it's so full in their spirit, and they can't reconcile it, that they have to put it on somebody else. What it really sounds like in their mind is, oh, honey, change out of that, because this world is evil and I don't want anybody to see you and take advantage of you. But how it manifests from the tongue is, what are you doing? Stop being grown. Go put something on, trying to show yourself.
Yeah.
That is nothing but the projections of a broken woman.
Yep.
Let me tell you something vital. You said something so important. You say, I say it to acknowledge the pain and release it and not to hold judgment. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, mighty woman of God. You have power. I tell people that every day. You spoke a mouthful right there. You already have your ascension. You spoke a mouthful right there. Let me tell you something. What we have to do is take the title, and I say it in all respect, not in a disrespectful way. Take the title off of our mother and our father and see them as a man and a woman that has hopes, dreams, fears, pain, sorrow, stories that you don't even know.
Yes.
We know our mother's stories.
You got
Sometimes our mothers gaslit us. They were mean. They were wicked. We don't know what she had to overcome.
Yes,
We do not
exactly.
know the shame that she bore. Many of our mothers wouldn't even be with our fathers if it wasn't because of some trauma.
Yep.
Okay?
And wait, it's funny you say that because now, this was years ago when I came to these realizations. So when I talk to her now, it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
I hold more empathy for her.
Yeah.
You know, I see her as a woman, as that was once a little girl, that was once a baby.
That was
So
broken. Yeah.
it's because of this, it led me to want to learn about children psychology.
Yeah.
Right. I got into that field. I didn't finish though.
I used to be a psychology major.
I love that.
Everybody should take at least one semester of child psychology. Every parent. It will change the world.
So even though I didn't continue because life changes. I had another child. I got with a new partner. We started a new life. Like it's been years since I did that, but I still have been researching wherever I can, right? Like on Google and stuff. So when I go around on YouTube, like sharing videos like, oh, save children or, supporting people like you, especially, it's because like you mentioned your teacher, how she had such an impact on you. And sometimes I think if I would have had a female in a powerful position, not bending for every man, because that's all I saw growing up was like the men's way only. So as I got older, you start meeting different people and you realize it's not always like that. There can be actual respectful relationships where people are mutually respected.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And I'm going to tell you something. What you said was so powerful because that is so current in the here and now. We just watched it in our country. I don't think Trump won because people think Trump is so great. I mean, we all know Trump ain't got no policies, none. What it is an indictment on men are so threatened by women. The notion of a woman leading them made them vote for someone who is woefully incompetent, a 34-time convicted felon with other charges pending. And what is the likelihood? They literally overlooked a woman who was probably one of the most qualified people in the history of running for the presidency. Whether you liked her or not, whether you thought she giggled too much, this woman who was a product of a broken family with a mother who ended up getting sick, went to college, put herself through college, became a district attorney. She has served in 3 branches of government. She's the first person to ever run for president that has served in 3 branches of government: executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial. Only person. And people were saying she's unqualified. Well, who's qualified? God? Y'all want God to run for president? Because it's ridiculous. But what you just said was so masterfully illustrated, because people that are used to a status quo are so fearful. They would rather let 48 terms of men burning this country down than one woman getting it right. That's what their fear was. And so understand, back to what I said, nobody robs an empty store.
Nobody robs an empty store.
They robbed her of this opportunity to fix our country and our world because of fear of looking like a woman was better. That's called the patriarchy. Those are the walls we're still breaking down. Those are the walls we're still breaking down. It's so unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that this is what it is. But I do believe that, unfortunately, every major every major superpower nation has had a period in history where they fell. And our dollar is so devalued. That's why all our groceries are so expensive. And we have lost so much respect in the world stage because of the first Trump presidency. And so it is my sincere belief that God is still in the business of this. And people think that, people like to make God transactional. They think God is an ATM. Hey, God, stick my card in. I need another favor. No, God is also a God of wrath.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like our mother used to say, whatever culture you came from, however they say, a hard head is a sore behind.
Mm-hmm.
America's
so,
right now,
absolutely.
and they have to have a sore behind. So unfortunately, the many will suffer for the few, but it is going. But the beauty of a setback, my mother always says, a setback is a setup for a comeback. So we're going to go through some setbacks. Mm-hmm. I don't even think the Trump presidency will go 4 years, honestly.
It's really hard for me to say because I'm so unknowledgeable with Trump, what he wants to do for the country and what Kamala wants to do, because when I turn on to learn anything, it's like nonstop attacks to both sides. So it's like really hard to discern.
Here's the easiest way to discern it. Trump has no policies, none. If you ask him, give me your top 5 policies. He said, we have a concept of a plan. You mean to tell me you was a president for 4 years, you lost, and then for 4 years you sat down, and then you still don't have a concept of what you want to do? But they have something called Project 2025, which wants to strip all the rights away that we have fought for an eternity.
What is this Project 2025?
Project 2025, look it up. They want to strip. Trump has said on day 1 in office, he is going to be an emperor. He is going to be an emperor, and he like a king, and he is going to use executive order and sign away a whole bunch of things. Trump wants to take it. That you hear "Make America Great Again." Mm-hmm. That was an old school slogan. I think Ronald Reagan used that back in the 80s and somebody else. It is hearkening back to a day of a time where people were oppressed and the only majority was the white people majority. That's what they want to take us back to.
What do you think people in America can do moving forward?
I think we have to galvanize and understand that we are greater. We have more in common than we do apart, and galvanize our base, because we are going to need to support each other. I think we're going to need to support each other on a local level. I think people need to get more active in their local government, go to city council meetings, go to local stuff, because that's what affects us immediately. Mm-hmm. Like when you hear, they doing stop and frisk and your cousin gets pulled up and your brother and all. When you go to local level and you call your city council, look, they're stopping and frisking in our neighborhood again. It's against the law.
It's funny you say that.
Stop it.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you say that because I actually that happened to me here a couple weeks ago, unlawfully.
See?
Unlawfully, and nobody cares to explain anything to me.
Mm-hmm.
But
listen, let me tell you what Trump said. Now, when racist people have this mentality, they think that they can look at somebody and tell where they're from. They can't. They make a lot of assumptions. Most of what they do is based on assumptions and insecurities. Trump said he is going to deport legal and illegal aliens. You can be here legal, have a green card, have worked, whatever. He said he's going to deport them back to their home country. Here's the joke. I watched a documentary years ago about how all these people were like, oh, we don't want the foreigners. We don't want foreigners. We don't want the Mexicans. Send them back over the border. And so they were so negative. I believe it was Arizona and some other thing, but it was a farming community. May not have been Arizona. It was a farming community. And the city had a lot of Mexicans in it. Well, guess what? They were being so adversarial to the Mexicans. The Mexican was like, bump this. We out of here. And picked up and left. You want to know what happened?
What happened?
All of the agriculture in that state died. They had nobody to farm the agriculture. So then they hired a documentary crew came along. They hired the Americans and the young people. Baby, everybody was in the grass on their phone like this. The farmers were livid. Then this one farmer says, you see, he was talking to a group of people. He slapped his leg and he said, damn it, I told y'all to shut up. Look at this. I'm losing my whole crop. I'm going to lose this farm. It's been in my family forever. Nobody wanted to do the job. We all have value here. And it disturbs me greatly because you know what that lady in something's on my eye. You know what that lady holding a torch in the East River says? That Lady Liberty? She is holding a tablet that says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free." I have a problem with people saying, "I'm Italian American, I'm Greek American, I'm this American," but you don't want nobody else to come across the border. How come you and your ancestors could come, but nobody else could come? You understand? Trump is German. His ancestors are German. Because if they really want to stand on Native American, they all got to go back. The Europeans got to go somewhere else.
No, it's because they created the Black's Law. Like they put it on paper first.
We need to make an assess. We need to really come to terms with everybody just has to live on this landmass together. So what if new people come in? If they want to be law-abiding citizens and contribute to the tax revenue, so what? There's a place for everybody. The history of this land was that they came and infringed on the right of the people who were here.
I want to share something with you, though, Natanya, in regards to that, speaking based on my culture, language, and stuff. There's certain illegal immigrants that are connected to the, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but like the CARTELS.
I think you know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That is very heavy with the human traffic stuff. Very big. Like there's this one town in Mexico right underneath Texas. It's called Juarez.
I know.
Okay, there's so many women that have disappeared. But I think that when there's a lot of misinformation because when the illegal immigrants you're talking about are,
I don't call anybody an illegal immigrant.
No, but like the news and stuff, like the term, I don't like those terms either. I'm just saying it for the sake of our communication, for us to get each other. But trust me, I don't like those terms because they limit a human being. Like you're more than just that. You're not
dismissive.
But there's hardworking people that are genuinely trying to escape persecution, right? With their kids, they're trying to find a better life. My parents came here from another country as well, because like anybody they want their children to prosper and survive, you know, but then you have some that are associated with those people that I'm mentioning they're running rampant in Latin America and Mexico.
Let me tell you who's the cause. Let me tell you why America is a great hypocrite. They cannot be the cause and the cure. Do you want to know why there is so much schmacking? Because there's a shortage of women in the world. In order for back in the days of the Carnegies and the Roosevelts and all those wealthy families in America in the 40s and all of that, what they did was they created the one-child rule. They said, if you want to get aid from America, you are only allowed to have one child. They did this in all these regions. They did it in China. They did it in India. They did it in all those regions. They told them when Indira Gandhi was the prime minister of India, they said one child rule. If you want American aid, you can only relegate your people to have one child. They did a lot of forced abortions in India. I mean, late trimester. So while America was walking over here saying no abortions, they were over there taking out of wombs.
It gets very deep.
This is I saw a documentary on it about 15 or 20 years ago. I promise you, look it up. Forget the name of it. I'm gonna find the name and put it in the chat one day.
Speaking of documentaries, have you ever heard of Kathy O'Brien?
Kathy O'Brien. Is she from Australia?
No.
Okay.
When you get a chance, look up Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips. They had to do with the mind control project.
I've heard of her before. Was she from England or something?
She was from Tennessee. This happened here in the USA. So long story short, this happened like in the 70s. Her dad was a PDF, as Tisa says, right? A PDF. In the community, and he was selling content, and he received an offer to not to go to jail, but monetary offer in exchange for the child.
Wow.
So she was taken in and trained in weird ways, but she was used to pass messages between politicians.
Oh yes, I know who you're talking about.
Talks a lot about it.
I
I
know who
really
you're
don't want to say the wrong thing
No,
or
I
speak
know
out
who
of
you're talking about. I actually saw that. I actually saw her, and I saw her in I think was like a congressional hearing or something talking about it.
maybe, but she has books out. Obviously, if you Google her, they have her
I know
listed
it
as a
sounded
conspiracy
familiar, but I
theorist.
wasn't sure.
But she's not a conspiracy theorist. Like, this
Yeah.
woman has a lot of information, and she's still alive. She
Oh yeah,
talks
I
a lot
believe
about
that
recovering.
because I know it's real. I know
Yeah.
it's real, and it's unfortunate that so many people have this penchant for schmile schmef. I cannot stand it. I can't stand it. I wish children will be left to be children. It's annoying. But America can't be the cause and the cure. They caused this deficit of women because they even led Asian families that if you had a child and it was a girl, they said that was like a blight, a curse. And people would off their girl children
Wow.
in
It was
the
a
hopes
control tactic,
of a
a
baby.
brainwashing tactic.
But guess what it did? It created a deficit in the world of women in all these regions. And so then it drove the necessity. I watched a documentary about 10 years ago where oh no, what happened? Can you still hear me? If you can still hear me, come back up. I watched a documentary about 12 years ago where this lady in Asia was saying that she doesn't know if her son is ever going to be able to get married because there's not enough women in their town.
Sorry,
And
what's the documentary? Can you? I missed what you said. Can you?
Oh no. I said I watched this documentary about 12 years ago or 10 years ago. This woman in Asia was crying because she said she doesn't know if her son is ever going to get married because there was such a shortage of women. And so the men whose family had more money got the first pickings of the women. And then it was like a caste system where it trickled down. And so if you didn't have this exponential amount of money, if your son was just a regular Joe Schmo worker 9 to 5, or not even 9 to 5, but, robbing Peter to pay Paul hand to mouth, he wasn't going to get married. And so that became a blight on a family to not have your son get married. And so that is what created the upswing of schmeck trafficking. They started stealing women all over the world to bring there. And this is how it started. There's documentaries out there. I promise everybody, YouTube and Google it. You will be astounded. And it is so sick to now be the cause and the cure. I don't like that. That's the people that throw a rock and hide their hand. You're screaming over here, say no to schmortions, but you've given them out like coochie coupons across the country. Why?
But is that really like what it is? They want it
I'm telling you.
That's
Because America was trying to defend its position as a superpower nation. See, everything is propaganda. Everything is propaganda and forethought. They have think tanks where they're planning out. This is 2024. The think tanks that work for that other side, they are planning out what is going to happen 40 years from now.
Yeah. Yep.
So what's happening now was planned in 1980.
I believe that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Kathy O'Brien was saying in the 80s.
Planned in 1980 for what was going to take place now. All of this is orchestrated.
Yep.
And so that is what we have to get out of this day-to-day thinking and start to unite and think long-term and make plans so that we know what we're doing, even if we're not at the point of 40 years, because it takes a long time to be able to plan for 40 years. Some people can't plan for the end of the week. We have to start to unite and make a concerted effort to at least let's know what our trajectory is 10 years. Perhaps that's what everybody should do. If you're on the live, if you're on the replay gang, make a 10-year plan. Everybody should. That's our homework, nerds. Let's everybody make a 10-year plan, 5-year plan, 3-year plan, 6-month plan. And the next time we come on live, we all need to read that up. Yep. If you don't know where you're going, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yep.
If you fail to plan, and here's the deal, you can make a plan. Even if you get to that 6-month milestone and you got to push it till 8 months, that's okay. Don't give up. But the fact is that you set a goal. Of course, attempt to achieve that goal. But if something should happen, because real life jumps in, if something should delay it, delayed is not denied. But at least you have a goal. Hang it on your wall. Hang it on your wall and tell yourself, this is what we're looking for. I have a big dry erase adhesive on my wall right in front of me. We gotta, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And without a substantive plan, that's like we should all be prepping. Everybody should have extra spring water in their house. Everybody should have some rations and food that they can keep in the event that the power grid goes down, because with all the floods and all the things we're having, God knows what tomorrow holds for us. Last week, 2 months ago, Asheville, North Carolina was tourist country. That was the tourist place. It was the most lush, cabins and towns, homes, and all this stuff for you to go visit, and Airbnb Central and all these things. And now a river ran through it of mud and destroyed the town. I almost lost a cousin in it. He lives in Tennessee, but he worked in Boone, North Carolina at that Walmart, which was right there next to Asheville. We didn't know where he was for 2 days. His car got swept away. His wife called me and was like, I don't know where he is. We haven't heard a thing.
Do you know anything about lithium in that ground? Okay. Do you know what HAARP is?
Oh, of course I do.
Okay. I just had those questions for you to see it.
The weather computer. I've been telling people about that for years, and they were like, oh, that's crazy. Nobody can make it rain. And I was like, okay.
This is synchronicity, Natanya. So
I told
when
you,
I'm
a nerd. I'm a nerd. Trust me.
So then I must be a nerd too, because we could chat about this for a long time.
These are the
conversations. When I first started learning that things are not what they seem, that there's a lot going on behind. I remember I showed up to work one day and I was like, guys, do you know there's a machine that can control the frequency and the weather, guys? You know our food is being poisoned. Oh my God. I thought everybody was going to be like, let's do something about it.
No.
That was very naive of me at the time.
Do you remember this movie, 12 Angry Men, where Jack Nicholson, you've probably seen this one commercial.
With the jury? Like a jury?
You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Everybody ain't able. Some people will forever be attached to the matrix, for their brain is not capable of handling the truth.
You know who Dolores Cannon is?
Dolores Cannon.
Have you ever heard of her?
Sounds familiar. Tell me about
past life regressions, but she passed away. She's gone now.
Older lady?
She has short, curly hair.
Yeah, I know exactly.
She used to talk about she had many books. She had many books.
Talk about astral projection and stuff like that.
One of her conferences, she said, the truth is like, sometimes you have to, like a baby, you can't just give the baby a steak right out the bat. You got to give little foods, little by little. So with years that passed, I see that. I'm like, oh, that's why now, like this year is the first year that I've ever seen all of the information I used to see connected. And it was like, it's happening so quickly between, I remember I started watching Tisa first. Then, no, I'm lying, because I think I saw Jaguar and Tisa around the same times. They were like, their videos were popping up on my feed. And I'm like, hold on. And then now I'm finding all these platforms of people talking about, things that nobody was really talking about, at least in my circle.
Were you on when I talked about I am QHEF, Perky, or Honey? Dopest Mod, put those back in the chat. You got some homework to do.
What's this? Are these
are platforms where they are truth tellers. They'll call it like conspiracy theory platform videos or whatever. I want y'all to watch. Everybody that's on at the sound of my voice right now, and the replay gang, Dopest Mod, I want you to list all the homework and we can link it so that people can know. And let's put back the people in the chat. I want y'all watching this content creator called she's going to spell it out. I am QHEF, Perky, Right 7X, and the OG of OGs, Dre _OG. The Dopest Mod is going to put them in the chat with the links. Let me tell you something. You think you got a crash course in this last year? I'm about to blow your mind. Be ready for it. For the truth cannot wait. He who has the truth is set free indeed. Be ready for your freedom. You want your freedom?
I have
I
three
got your freedom
questions
papers.
for
Go
you before I get off, because
Go ahead.
I would chat with you all night if I could. If I would, meaning I would, but
Absolutely. You can
out
eat
of
and you can
respect
email
for
me
your
anytime.
time,
But
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
excuse myself. But I want to ask you 3 questions before we
Sure.
get off. Have you ever heard of the book The Four Agreements?
Yes.
Okay. Based
Mhm.
on some of what you were saying, I'm
Mhm.
like, a lot of what she's saying, I learned about those concepts from that book.
Yeah.
Those opened up my mind. I'm like, I never thought about it that way. Never.
Mhm.
So it gave me a different perspective. So I'm glad that you read that book. That's always my go-to when I forget, like I'm forgetting myself again. I'm like,
Beautiful.
and another thing I was gonna ask you. Oh, when you say asheyo,
Mhm. So
what does that mean?
ashe is an African term that means it is done.
It is done.
Duty bound. Ashe. Oh, A-S, the E with an accent figure, and then O, capital O, and a bunch of O's.
I've heard that
O.
in
So it
2
is.
places before. I've heard that.
Yeah.
I used to work with somebody named Ashe,
Mhm.
and then me and my husband watched this person on YouTube. His name is Dr. Yaki Awaken.
Oh yeah, Yaki Awakening. Oh,
Okay, he always starts off his shows like that. So
Asheo.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Yaki says that.
Opus
Asheo.
Mod, put Asheo in the chat for those who don't know. It is a beautiful greeting. And another one is Alafia. And it just means like blessings unto you, blessings to you, and I receive them back from you.
Sounds like I love ya.
Yep. Look at that. Look at that. See? Alafia and Asheo. Yeah, it's just one of those things. And we also pour libation. When we say Asheo and we come together for fellowship, we also pour libations for the ancestors. So what you can do is get yourself a plant. It could be a little plant from whatever your local supermarket is, Kroger, whatever. Or Home Depot, get a little plant and let that plant represent your ancestors. And before you guys eat, before you guys do anything, pour a little, like they used to say in the hood movies, pour a little out for the ones who ain't here.
I didn't want to say that, but that's where I first heard it from.
You pour your libations for your ancestors.
Look at that. Origins.
Or 3 times you say Ashe, Ashe, Asheo, and that's your libations. You call on your ancestors' name, you tell them it's for them, and you keep it pushing. You'll be surprised at the things that happen to you and for you.
Because I never thought to think about my ancestors, I would say, until in these recent years. I'm like, dang, they must have went through so much for me to be standing here today. Because what I'm going through, multiply that by everybody that came before me.
That's right. And I'm going to tell you something, what I do every day before I even step out of bed. My grandmother was they always say, we are the manifestations of prayers that we don't even know took place. I pray for my grandmother took sick some years before, and then she wasn't able to really do it. So about 8 years ago, I took over the mantle. I pray for my entire family every day. I go through my children. I go through myself, then I go through my children, then I go through my sister, my mother, my sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, those known and unknown, named and unnamed, who have our highest and best interest at heart. Now, don't forget that part, our highest and best interest, because you got some ancestors that don't have your highest and best interest. You don't want them praying for you.
Right.
My ancestors or my sisters, my brother, everybody who has our highest and best interests at heart. And I proclaim over them, we are healthy, healed, whole. Our body functions as a factory reset the way God intended. Our blood flows freely. Our heart is at maximum capacity. Our brain works perfectly. Our kidneys are healthy and pure. I go over everything. I say our body functions as a factory reset the way God intended the human body to flow. I proclaim health and wellness over us, our mind, body, soul, spirit, flesh, and finances. We are the lender and not the borrower. I pray for my ancestors, those known and unknown, named and unnamed, and I pray for our future generations to come, because we are our ancestors come again. So they will be us come again. And I pray for them. And I do this every single morning. It is my responsibility. I just take it as my responsibility, and I pray for them. Because guess what? Every beautiful accomplishment that we had, and we just feel like, oh, guess what I did? I achieved this. That's the manifestations of a prayer of some grandmother long ago. And so it's our duties. Yeah. It's our duty.
It's funny how I know that's true, because I literally tell my 9-year-old this. I'm like, look, I'm not saying you need to have children. Whatever you decide to do in your adulthood, doesn't matter. But if there are small children in your life, everything I'm teaching you today, one day you're going to pass on to them.
That's right.
Have the same respect that I'm giving you right now. Please, I'm begging you for them, because I might not get to meet them, but it's going to continue. God willing, if it's meant to be, my family will continue.
I know my grandmother's here in this moment. Do you know, all of my life, my grandmother passed away a few years ago, but all of my life, I never heard, if my grandmother was the person that was supposed to teach me the word tomorrow, I would never know it. I only thought it was tomorrow, please God. She has never once uttered the word tomorrow without saying, please God. Never. I'm 54. I never heard her just say tomorrow. She was so sold for God and completely devoted. She would say, tomorrow, please God, I'm going to go to the store. Tomorrow, please God, I'm going to bake a cake. Tomorrow, please God. She was always giving reference to God first. I started writing a book about her called Desperately Seeking God, because she would be, my family started out as Pentecostal. Then we went to Baptist, she went to the Baptist church. Then she went to Catholic church. Then she went to, she was doing Buddhism for a while. I mean, she did Buddhism for such a while. I could still hear
the answer.
I promise you, I was a child when my grandmother did Buddhism. I can still say Name Yoho Renge Kyoho. I know that from her chanting. I ain't heard it in ages, but I remember that. And then she went back to Pentecostal. But ultimately, it was always her desire to be close to God. Wherever he was, she was looking for him. And she found it back where she started, in the Pentecostal church. But I know God meant so much to my grandmother. Oh, when I tell you, my grandmother was the very best in the world. My granddaughter says, I call her Grandma Baby and she calls me Grandma Baby. And that's our name for each other. Everybody knows it. And she's like, oh, Grandma Baby, just the best grandma in the whole wide world. I learned that from my grandmother. I have the ability to be a phenomenal grandmother because my grandmother was a phenomenal grandmother. And so all I'm doing is mirroring what she did. It's innate. It's not an act. It's just a doing, because it's so in my body. It's so
ingrained in you. In your most crucial years, she impacted you. That's beautiful. That's so beautiful.
She's amazing.
Because it sounds like you had a lot of powerful women to look up to. And
I did.
I never had a role model. I didn't think of it. And now that I'm older, I seek that. That's why I think I was brought to your channel, because I was seeking women that one day I can strive to at least be somewhat like, right? Because I still have my own uniqueness, but in values and outlook on life, I wanted to see that it was possible to have this joy in life, even after going through everything. So thank you for making yourself present.
Absolutely.
And allowing me to reach out, because I never thought I'd see the day where I was speaking directly to you, but I can't say I didn't manifest it, because I saw you on Tisa's channel and I was just blown away that you were here to tell us everything.
Thank you.
Clearly it will never actually describe what you went through, because those things are sacred to you, but you're sharing with us what you think is going to help us.
Absolutely.
Right? So I appreciate you for that. And it works. I'm sure you know, because it's helping me.
I appreciate you. Thank you, first of all, for saying that. Thank you for even seeing me in a way and understanding that. Thank you. That matters. Thank you so much. And I'm here for you. We family.
I'll be back. Now that you invited me, I'll be back.
Absolutely. Please come back. We are part of the Nerd Herd. Let's see what they're saying in there. If anybody has a message for you. They said, everybody has such good, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I love you guys. Let's give our sister a hand. And the dopest mod, because she is just, what will we do?
Yeah, I can't wait to see the, I think she's going to put
she put them in the chat. She put them in the chat. It's
okay. I'm scared to check, because the last time I tried to check, it clicked me out. So okay. I'm not pressing any buttons right now. But I'm gonna let you go, Miss Natanya.
Listen, I love you, sis. You are welcome here. This is home. You know what the rules are. Take your shoes off by the door, grab a pair of fuzzy socks, get up on the couch and make yourself.
Oh, that sounds good. My toddler's gonna be up in like 5 hours.
Okay. We'll get some sleep, and I appreciate you and love you guys so much. I appreciate you. God bless you. Guys, this was another amazing, dope. Like, anybody want to come up? Anybody got anything to say? Absolutely. It was an amazing conversation. I promise you it was. Ooh, who's up in here blushing? Oh, let me find out. There's some couples in here. We're gonna have a nerd herd wedding. Cause come on, y'all. When we went to the wedding now, what did I just see? Some blushing. Who's blushing? What expression do you love, Cassius? What am I missing? I gotta see. Let me see, Sean. Let me see what's going on up in here in the chat. Yeah, you are the dopest mod, girl. Oh, who's beautiful? Okay, then. Oh, I love you so much. 2 expressions of Miss Honesty. Thank you. I love you guys too. And you guys in the chat, y'all gotta kick it, honey. We family. Y'all can exchange each information and all that. Yes. This chat be popping. Oh, I agree wholeheartedly, honey, about the Busby. I agree. Yes, indeed. I smelt that a mile away. I was like, something ain't right here. Something ain't right here. Something in the milk ain't clean. Miss Gemini. Gemini's in the house. Hey, George Cervantes, what's up, honey? Are they big investors in Black? Listen, can I tell you that everybody and their mama is investors in BlackRock and Vanguard? Because those are some of the biggest mutual funds. Everybody's mutual fund money is in there. So don't sleep. You don't believe me? Go check your mutual funds. Your mutual funds in your work portfolio, guaranteed. 2 of their biggest investments are BlackRock and Vanguard, because those are some of the highest performing indexes. Let me tell you, y'all, I'm a life insurance agent. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to do a show about life insurance and investments and things like that. I think that it's so important so that we could be prepared, because life insurance is not life insurance of yesteryear just for unaliving and passing. Life insurance is also for the living. And I want to definitely share that with you guys. I think it's so important for you to know how you can manifest life insurance to be able to prepare for your future so that you can have a nest egg to supply your needs when you're old. I don't want us, and no disrespect to anybody that has to work at Walmart, but those old, sometimes you might run to Walmart like on a late Friday night before it closes, and you see a little old lady at the door and she's checking receipts. She's not there because she wants to be. She's there because she did not know how much money she would strategically need. Nobody could have known that the prices would go up so much. She didn't know that she would have the financial needs to sustain her retirement. And people are living longer. And so she ended up not having enough money to retire safely. And so she had to work. They have to work at Walmart checking receipts that they're not really checking. They're just writing a yellow marker on it. I want to tell you guys investment strategies through life insurance, because that is where the real money is. A lot of people will tell you go invest in this and in that. If you're not investing in a product called an index product, then you are losing your money. You're throwing money away. Index means it has a floor. It has a lock. You will always actualize all the gains, but you will never lose. There's a floor. And I want to be able to share that with you guys. Absolutely. Absolutely. We can publish a book. Okay. You got to fill me in, because sometimes I'd be missing the chat. Hey, George. Hey. Me too. We missed you too. I've been making my rounds. Y'all got to check out the Sean Atwood podcast. I've been there for a couple of days. I said, I got to come home to the family now. I can't be here for 2 days and not come home to the family. But it was an amazing experience, and they really have been super kind to me. And if you can see, our channel is growing and everything. A lot of people have come over, and it's just one big happy family. And it's exactly what we should be. we should all be strategically aligned with each other and making strategic alliances so all of us could actualize what it is we want to in life. Oh, you saw me? Girl, I had a good time over there. You saw me chuckling and stuff. It was so much fun. When I tell you they're hilarious. And that Ron is hilarious. Shane, the booker, all the ladies, I've had a blast. Yeah, I have a publishing company. And you guys, if you want, by all means, I think the Dopest Mod put the link in the chat for my book. I have a book called A Shot in the Dark. It's a good read. It's a cute little read. It's cutesy and mindful and demure and all those other things. Grab a copy of it. It's available on Barnes & Nobles. It's on Kindle. It's on Ingram Spark. The link will be in the chat so you can participate. If you guys ever decide that you want to, we love Ron. Ron is the dopest. So funny. Yes, I'm going to stop in. I'm going to stop in if they invited me to come in at the end. So I will pop in at the end, but I don't know. Hopefully it'll be, but I know it's going to be just fine. Aw, Shane is a beautiful person. I just, I gave him what God gave me to give him. He's just so dope. Honestly. And I'm happy that he, it mattered and he received it. And I'm just happy that it landed the way it was supposed to. He is amazing. I mean, I had such a good time talking to him. Super, super dope. But yeah, they are cousins over there, honey. They are our cousins over there at the Sean Atwood show. And the Tattletales. The Tattletales are our cousins too. We got some internet cousins, y'all. Absolutely. Oh, would you like to publish it on my imprint? Mrs. Wright Publishing is me. All right, the old lady is getting famished, y'all. You know I love y'all. I will sit here all day with y'all. But alas, I'm getting exhausted. Yes, you have the email address. Reach out to the Dopest Mod, or you can reach out to me and we'll reach out to her. She'll give you. No, I love Ron. And listen, we all got a little tism in us. The ADHD, I call it, it's on the autism spectrum. So, oh, she was, Chessa? I'm so happy. When I tell you guys, you see this Chessa Hilliard in the chat? This is my bona fide right here. That's my bona fide for years. When I tell you I love this woman, I love her children, it's my bona fide. Y'all give Chessa some love. She's going to come up here on the screen when she's ready. Yes, if you guys feel so inclined to purchase my book, A Shot in the Dark, it's a cute read. I am in the process of writing I'm going to make it a series. And so I'm in the process of writing. The main character is Onyx and her best friend, Akweke. I know when you see the name, you're not going to be really familiar with it. It was a name of my mother's friend when I was young. It's an African name, Akweke. So look it up. You can read a little excerpt, and it's a phenomenal book. Please, if you're so inclined, buy my book and help support the channel. I'm going to bring thought-provoking interviews and I do a lot of work to bring you very good information that feeds your soul and resonates with you and blesses your life. If you would be so inclined, please, each one of us that are on or in the replay gang, once you come on and watch the video and replay, share it to 5 friends. Share it to people that may need it. I just try to do things that uplift you, add value to your life, and you guys add so much value to me, and I'm eternally grateful. Absolutely. Shout out to the Tattletales. That's our YouTube cousins as well, and Tisa and the Tattletales. I love me some Tisa. Absolutely. The link is in the chat. You can buy the book when you're ready. You can find it on Diamond in the Rough. If you can find it in, and it's the THA Rough. Everything is THA. You can find it in the chat. Dopest Mod posted it in the chat. I'm gonna have shirts. Please give the Dopest Mod your shirt order. Absolutely. We will have them ready for you soon. We'll have the design up so you guys can see it. We're gonna have a couple of designs so you can take your pick. Definitely give the Dopest Mod your shirt size. And if you want to join, if you want to be a full-fledged nerd, you can join a membership. We would love that. We're gonna have special badges for you guys and all types of stuff, and special member-only videos. Thank you so much, Chessa. I appreciate you. I love you. Uh-oh, your clipboard got erased? Oh, no. You know that, listen, the Dopest Mod be having everything together. You hear me? Together. The merch is definitely coming soon. Yep. No, you're fine. Expressions of mishonesty. That's cool. I thank you, Chessa. Chessa said you are the whole truth. You have no idea as to your... Listen, I want you guys to hear Chessa. I really want you guys to hear Chessa one day. I swear. And I don't swear. But I promise you, when I tell you this mighty woman of God, this mighty woman of God. Aww. Somebody cutting onions in here. I will be forever grateful to you, Chessa. Forever grateful. And you know that. Forever grateful. I love you all. You guys are my family. We are each other's tribe. Here, you don't choose who you're related to, but you can choose your tribe here on earth. And by all means, thank you so much, Murphy. I appreciate it. The email is, so you can definitely get the Dopest Mods email too, and the show's email is at thedopestnerd@gmail.com. Same way that it's spelled for the channel, at gmail.com. Okay, we can check them out. Hey, I'm looking forward to it. I love my brother from Nigeria. Hey, I will absolutely go over there. Oh, cooking? Say less. We love food over here. Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend. I love you all. Ashe-o. Ashe-o. And sleep well, everyone. Rest your feet. Throw those feet up. For those of you who are my age and up or around that age, we should elevate our feet above our heart. We tend to retain a lot more water. And so in order to evenly distribute the water and excrete the rest of the water that your body does not need, you should be sleeping with your feet elevated. If not every night, at least 3 nights a week. So for those of you who are still watching, try that out. Just stack some pillows, put your feet up in an ascension, or you can buy that ascended pillow from Amazon. It's not that expensive. Sleep with your feet elevated. It's going to cause you to use the bathroom a lot more at night, but that way your body will be getting rid of unnecessary fluid in your body, and it protects you from, we are at risk of heart issues, stroke, all of those things. We're not going to speak those into existence. However, we're not going to act like we don't know. So I love you guys. Have a wonderful night. The Dopest Mod, we will talk after the show if you want, or we can wait till tomorrow, whatever you want. Yeah, wedge pillows, or you can, if you have pillows at home, you can stack them and wedge pillow. And if you have hot flashes, you need to take black cohash. BLACKCOASH. Black cohash will have you feeling fresh and fancy. Stay blessed, everybody. And I know how it is, joy to the world, honey, because I got them private summers too. I have those private summons, but trust me, what gets rid of it is Black Cohash. Nighty night, everyone. Asheo. Everyone sleep well. And I love you all. Okay. I'll talk to you in a second. Vaughn?